You're listening to Well, I Laughed, Part 1 of Checkmate. Win, lose, or draw.
Oh my God, it's getting closer. Kirkmeyer and Marks were separated by 5 points in your living room, and with still almost 40% of the vote left uncounted, it is down to 38, 39, down to 3%? No, I'm sorry, it's down to 2.6%.
Shut the fuck up, dude. I almost want Marks to, like, get the nomination just to watch
John
him
Oliver.
get smashed. Smash him with the hammer! Jesus Christ. It's just so cute that he thinks that he can win in Colorado.
And I love these statistics too. If you add up all of the Republican primary vote getters right now, they do not have as many votes as Phil Weiser does. And then Michael Bennet adds an extra 250,000 votes to that total.
Michael Bennet, dude.
I know. I might actually talk about that at the start of the episode.
Do it. Casey, we like pulled out our ballots because Casey was like, these are due today. And I was like, fuck. He was like, who are we voting for? And I was like, we're voting for Phil Weiser. And he was like, oh, so we don't like Michael Bennet? And I went,
correct.
No, fuck Michael Bennet. And then we're voting for, what's her name?
Julie Gonzalez. Yeah.
And he was like, oh, so we're not fans of Hickenlooper either? And I went, no,
we're not.
I was like, what the fuck are
I didn't
you
like
talking
Hickenlooper
about?
when he was governor.
I was like, we haven't liked him for years now.
Hickenlooper will win, but look at what those margins are. Julie Gonzalez got over 40%.
She had people pounding the pavement.
Yeah,
We
she
got
did.
someone dropping off like a flyer for her today.
I mean, I did Weiser, Hickenlooper. So I did Weiser, Gonzalez. Had I lived in Denver, Quiros.
Yeah.
Because you guys are in my district, right?
Yes.
You voted for
Yeah,
Peterson as well. Our only option.
Yeah, I didn't vote when there wasn't an option because I said I don't know enough about these people to say
like
anything.
Brittany.
Brittany Peterson.
She's pro-density, which I'm a big fan of.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Who did you vote for AG?
Oh, that's a great question because these are all just federal races. I voted for the Indian lady. What's her name?
I don't know.
I'm not going to say it because I'm going to be offensive if I say it. I voted for Hetal Doshi, who got 15%.
Okay. Who's winning right now?
Jenna Griswold, current
that's what I was
Secretary of
saying,
State.
yeah. I think Casey voted for one of the men.
Dave Siegelman.
I don't know, but he was reading on like Ballotpedia or something. And I just knew I was going to vote for Jenna Griswold.
Lesbian from Jeffco, just won Secretary of State. Lesbian Latina from Jeffco. Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
For Secretary of State.
I love that.
Okay, are we?
Yes, let's just
actually
do this.
jump in.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello, hi. My name is Maya. That's Grant. If
Hi.
you don't want to listen to us catch up, you can use a chapter function and skip over to my story. Goodbye. See you there.
For those of us who are staying for the chat, we have lots to discuss, as always.
So
Pride Weekend
much,
just
actually.
happened. But
Yeah.
before we do anything, tonight is Colorado's primary election.
This is the second most like sportsy I see Grant, and I always do forget about it because it doesn't happen as often as like actual sports. But he walked in and was like, "So and so's up by 3%, and there's like 20,000 votes left or 2,000 votes left." It was fucking crazy.
Like I was texting one of our friends, and I was like, "No, I think it's a great sign. Like a lot of his lead right now is built off of like Denver, and then he's losing like a lot of the more rural counties. This is still in like a Democratic primary, but those are rural people. So I'm like, so it'll be really interesting. Oh wait, hold on. Douglas County and Eagle just dropped, and he's doing really well. Oh, Broomfield's fully in. They're done. Those are suburban counties.
And I just came out of pulling pictures for my story tonight, so I was like, I didn't know what was happening. A lot of numbers.
And it's not done yet. We're jumping in. It's like 7:30 here. So the counting has really just began in Colorado. Polls close at 7.
Yes.
My partner went to go vote in person downtown today. There's a lot of people voting downtown, which is exciting. His precinct is probably one of the most progressive in the state outside of the People's Republic of Boulder. Depends on the cause, though. I was
going to say, Boulder has its fucking moments.
On Boulder.
Yeah. I can't with Boulder. I don't know.
Can we? Okay. I'm going to more Boulder slander here in just a second. A couple of things about Boulder. But first, while we're anxiously awaiting the results of the Democratic primary, because this election will largely determine who wins in November. We are very fortunate
We're
that
a
we live
very
in
blue state these days.
very blue state that is getting bluer the further and further right the National Republican Party drifts. And so we are finding out tonight, like, who's the Attorney General, who's the Secretary of State, who's, whatever.
Yeah.
On the Republican side, absolutely putting a foot forward. They, not their best necessarily. They're not sitting their best.
Never their best.
Do you want to tell the people Victor Marx? And again, this is happening at 7:30 p.m. on primary night, so he might have just won. He might have lost. We don't. But Victor Marx is in the Republican primary right now for governor. What do we know about Victor Marx?
What do we not know about Victor Marx is the real fucking question. During the Republican primary debate that Kyle Clark infamously now moderated, Kyle Clark asked, like, you say that you've done all this stuff. It's not really verifiable.
Hold on. I remember the actual line.
Yeah.
He goes, so should
This line is so
Colorado primary voters assume you have lived one of the most extraordinary lives known to humankind, or assume that you're a grifter and a liar?
And what do you want your voters to take away from that? And Victor, Victor was like, the first thing he said is, I can't help it if I've had an extraordinary life, which immediately is like, fuck you, dude. And then he points to his motherfucking dog.
His dog.
Who is sitting on stage, who does a Jim from The Office look to camera, like, fuck. And Victor Marx said, this dog served with me in, like, Syria and Iraq or something like that. Would you call this dog a liar? And Kyle Clark, dead ass, said the dog is not running for governor. That was a sentence said in a real life debate.
It's like a Parks and Rec skit.
It was.
Can we do a segment where you're Kyle Clark and I'm Victor Marx and I'm asking I'm answering the question?
Do
you remember? It starts off with the childhood.
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
You once said that your dad forced you to kill someone at the age of 8. How many people have you killed?
I don't really see how that's relevant.
I said, like, does it matter? Bitch, what? And then he goes on to say, well, yeah, that's the only person I killed when I was a kid. This man, I almost want him to win the primary just to watch him get fucking obliterated.
Children were left behind. I don't know.
We did leave some children behind. Sorry, Bush.
We were in Capitol Hill recently walking, and there was a Victor Marx for governor sign in someone's
It was crazy
window.
to see that in the city and county of Denver.
Yeah, but then in the blue purple heart.
Yes.
So blue, it's practically back to purple.
Yeah,
it's like that rich. To the point where if I had to bet $10 one way or the other, I would bet it was a person who had ironically gotten it from going to a Victor Marx rally than an actual, authentic Victor Marx supporter. And like that would be, I want you to know, my prized possession too. House is on fire. What am I grabbing? That might make the list.
I should see what kind of merch he has on his site.
But
that's unreal.
No, the primary is happening right now, and I think one of the things that I've appreciated as I've lived in here for so long, lived here in Colorado, is, especially on like a national level, I think you view Denver and Boulder as like largely the same. Yeah. Denver is this like very blue, very liberal, very progressive city with a lot of like white collar workers, but also like this rich like ethnic backgrounds, especially in some of our neighborhoods on the north and west side. And then Boulder is this, same kind of white collar worker, but then also like tech and outdoor and like a lot of college students and things like that. So I think from the national level, they are just like indiscernibly liberal. But I would pick probably a dozen more suburban counties before I lived in Boulder.
I don't know why I hate Boulder so much.
I do.
I can list a bunch of reasons that aren't helping, but like I do feel like I have a predisposition to hating Boulder, and I do believe it started with the sheer lack of parking that is in that city and made it impossible to visit any of my friends who went to CU Boulder.
It's just so funny too, because I have for a very long time been loud, at least in our friend group, about my distaste for Boulder.
Yeah.
And like the people there's not necessarily anything wrong with them, you know?
No, the people usually are fine.
Yeah.
I hate the structure of the city.
There's a lot of newer drivers who are impatient and not paying for their own car insurance.
There's also a lot of drivers, or like the city is like, the streets don't make any sense.
Yeah, and they're always kind of under construction.
Yes.
To the point where like people are like, "Oh, Denver drivers are aggressive." I'm like, I think
it's probably Boulder that you're thinking of.
I can actually deal with an aggressive driver because their behavior is predictable. There's bad drivers up in Boulder, and I just kind of feel like I'm always driving around looking for the city. And by the time I find the city, they're like little downtown area, which they intentionally keep small. It's
and
like,
difficult to park
right,
in.
I'm like, do you want me here? No, you did not. And then it's like, I think more expensive than what you get out of all of it. And for being so progressive, they have been basically since their founding like anti-density, which also means that they have like basically slammed the gates shut on like other people living there.
They have like a height restriction that I feel like is also kind of aggressive.
And listen, my community of being as a queer man encompasses people from all walks of life.
Yes.
But I would say I find the Boulder gays kind of mean a lot of times.
I've met a lot of people who have lived in Boulder.
Mm-hmm.
Of those people who have lived in Boulder, I have not met nearly as many people who have wanted to stay in Boulder.
Yeah.
I think I actually factually know one.
I can't say this joke anymore because of where I teach and the students that we send. I'm going to say it now, not directed to anybody. And I've stopped saying it a couple years ago, but for a while.
As he says it again.
Oh, I'm going to repeat it now, but not in earnest, not directed to anyone. But for a while, I used to joke. I had never sent a student who'd graduated from my class to Boulder who had a healthy relationship with their father.
Now listen. Yeah.
Current most famous alumni of Boulder.
Jesus.
Carl from Love Island. Are you following Love Island?
Does it look like I'm following Love
Island? I don't know. Sometimes you get really into stuff that I don't know.
I do get really into reality TV. I feel like I've tried Love Island and it's just like too much.
Yeah, it's an insane amount of content. For those of you who don't
lot.
know, which might not be that many of you, I might be late to this game, they come out with an hour to an hour and a half long episode 6 days a week.
What?
Oh, did you not know this?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I just like the structure of it is too much for me just because it's like there's always something going on.
Right. Well, because there's 6 days a week worth of episodes and they're there
I'm never
for
getting into
weeks.
that.
And so like it's really interesting. I saw this one interview on TikTok and they basically have like a big whiteboard in the editing room and the video editors watch it live as it happens and they track like A plot, B plot, C plot, like as it is happening on this whiteboard. And then they have to basically turn around and get it out in like 24 or 48 hours or whatever. But it's so live and active that they've been able to bring back the like America, you vote like opportunity because it's not all pre-recorded and is now being released. Like there are
it's happening now.
Yeah, like there was a day where they eliminated several people from the villa, which is what they call the
new
sets.
bombshell has entered the villa.
Correct, which means then old bombshell duds have to leave. It happened so quickly that they were able to keep just basically everyone that had just gotten eliminated on Fiji for an additional 24 hours until they had figured out who had like won America's vote and which ones they were sending back in. Megan Thee Stallion was just the host of an episode, and that was great because Megan Thee Stallion's coming in knowing all of their names because she is just actively watching the episodes like as they go out.
Bro.
It's fascinating from that perspective, like that alone. But second of all, as a person with a degree in the social sciences, it is our generation's Stanford prison experiment.
I'm telling you, these reality TV shows are committing human rights violations.
Do you remember much of the Stanford prison experiment? The gist of... Okay, do you want to explain it to them real quick?
It gets so dark. You're going to have to be clearer.
Just like 3 sentences.
They're like, if we put all these people in a room together, like if they're in prison, will they form their own like rules in society? And like how will they operate?
If we give them fake titles.
It ends very badly.
Yeah. They give people fake
fake titles,
which
fake
becomes
power.
real power.
People are like prisoners or they're guards.
Like abuses.
It's crazy. It will be an episode that gets covered when I'm not depressed.
And academia hive mind, rise up. I know there's other criticisms and
so many. It's a
I know we're not covering
violation.
it. I'm just trying to give us the entry point into Love Island USA. Thanks so much. Like they are there without any contact with the outside world for like weeks, especially if you're one of the first couples and then stay in it. And the entire time you are performing like falling in love, you are performing romance. It's in my mind in many ways essentially being like on a group date that never ends, to the point where like as you go to bed at night, who is sleeping in whose bed is like Maya's with Casey, Jacob's with Lydia, blankety blanket, like it gets, so like so you're just always under constant surveillance, which, as you know, I think we all are, and I'm super concerned about that, and you should be too. But these people especially are under constant surveillance.
Yes.
And there's something that happens, I think, to the human brain when you know everything you say, every reaction you have, every connection you make is both impacting the like snow globe that you're living in and the way it is live stream being received. What makes
me so uncomfortable is not being able to know what the world's reaction is or what's even been cut out or in or how the edit makes you look. Because one thing with like The Bachelor and stuff, you are seeing shit as it comes out. Like you do know the public perception and you have opportunities to like
alter
it. And also I feel like you do get some say in what the final cut might look like, like in a writer or whatever. And this, it's just like there's a couple documentaries that I've watched recently. One on The Biggest Loser, the other on America's Next Top Model. Human rights violations galore. So
100%.
many goddamn human rights violations. There's one incident that it's really sad. This girl on America's Next Top Model, they end up in Milan and like, trigger warning, she gets into a situation that she did not want to be in. She was like drugged essentially. But she went into the bathroom with this guy, and apparently the contract says if you go into the bathroom alone, the camera crew can't follow you. But if you go in there with someone, the camera crew can follow you. And they recorded everything.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Bitch, what?
There's a book a friend recommended to me. It's called Here Comes the Sun, and it's about the rise of like reality television and things like that. I will say this. These are adults who are going in.
Yeah.
It's like season 8 or 9. So you like to think in theory they know at least in part what they're signing up for.
Yeah.
It's incredible television. I'm here to lend you like air coverage. If you are also loving Love Island, I will work all day reading my little academic books, working on my little stuff for my doctoral program, right? Reading, and then I will doing the podcast with you, doing research, and then I will come home and my boyfriend will be like, "Oh, hey," and he has Love Island on. I'm like, "Hey, do you want popcorn? Let's keep watching Love Island." And it is so good because you have a couple different things. First, one of the contestants is like 21, 22. Like just graduated. And another one of the contestants is like 28, which is still in their 20s, not unheard of for people of those two ages, both boys in this instance, but like not unheard of for people of that age to like date each other. But their ability to communicate and emotionally regulate is just so shockingly plain to see on camera.
Like lacking?
From the younger one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not that anyone has like a great reaction all the time. You know what I mean?
No, but like the 20s there's a very distinct difference between older 20s and younger 20s.
Right.
That you do not realize until you're older 20s.
So you get that. You get all this great like interpersonal communication examples from girls who have like basically, I'm only saying girls because the boys aren't nearly as good at it, but girls who are like, "Hey, I want you to know that when I was yelling at you and blankety blank," like I'm talking about KC and TT right now if I'm spilling too much, but the girls come up to TT later and they go, "Hey, I just want you to know that like when I was yelling at you and Casey, I was mad about what Casey had now done to one of my friends. We don't have any beef, and I'm sorry if I made you feel any kind of way."
Aww.
And you get moments like that because they're going to sleep together in the room. They get ready and the same. Like there is no choice but to make up.
Yes.
And so there's all this like great examples of like interpersonal communication going on. And then finally too, it's so funny because you can see how people process like anger, grief, rejection differently. Like there's this girl on there right now. Her name's Kenzie. She is known for trigger warning for hilarious phrase, inappropriate for children. She is known for her clam slam. So she will just like from the air drop down and like her, you know, because she basically lands in the splits.
No!
And then she kind of manages to push herself up just a little bit on the ankle and then like up, down several more times, right?
Yeah, well.
Kenzie, the slam clam queen, she did it for Megan Thee Stallion. It was actually,
I was going to say, she had to do it for
cinema.
Megan Thee Stallion.
It was fucking like Renaissance painting, gorgeous. But Kenzie has to be a Taurus because if you fuck with her, you are dead to her. She does not forgive you. This guy she had been talking to early on in the villa, then kind of did her kind of dirty. And so she's like, fine, we're done, whatever. And that was okay. But then like weeks later, he was like, hey, oh, Kenzie, can I talk to you real quick? She goes, fuck you. And leaves. Like, what part of you are dead to the clam slam queen are you not familiar with?
Like,
it's incredible. And it comes out every day.
That's so overwhelming to me. That's wow. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know where to go from there. Happy Pride.
Flawless transition. How was yours?
It was great. I mean, you saw most of it.
Yeah.
I got it. Real ringer on top was we had our kickball game last night, and your girl got heated. Because the team we were playing was just like...
This is our adult rec league cup and hand kickball team, just so you know.
The other team was taking shit way too seriously, which made me fucking fume. And I have a beautiful, lovely little twink friend that came to visit. Mm-hmm. And he's an LA twink. So you can see that shit on site.
He walked up with a parasol.
With a parasol and a crop top. Like, he's not hiding anything. And I love him so much for that. There was on the other team, there were two like middle-aged couples. Both of the women had awful tans and awfully dyed black hair, but that's beyond the point. One of them had a couple kids that were standing next to like where I was standing, and my friend walked behind them, and my twink friend, my LA twink friend, and one of the kids, the oldest of them, like turned to his mom, trying to get his mom's attention, like making side eye, like motioning his head over towards where my friend was walking past, and like could not stop like giggling and laughing. And I was like fuming. I was like, This is a child. Like, I know this is a child, but I'm pissed. The other children are now laughing with him. Also,
oldest adult child trying to get mom's attention means he has gotten mom's attention. This is the thing they do laugh about.
Yeah. And I like looked at him and went, during Pride Month, really? And he went, oh, no, I wasn't talking about him. I was like, there is fucking no one else behind you or that you were looking at. Like, I didn't say that, but I was like, okay. And then his mom like went over there, and I didn't see that kid again for the rest of the evening. But I was like, the entire rest of the game, I wanted to go home. Mm-hmm. I was so fucking mad. They also took that game way too fucking seriously.
Like, so the whole point of cup in hand is that you play with a cup in your hand, and most of us play with water
because beer's sticky.
Beer's sticky. It's 5
everywhere.
p.m. Yeah. Like it's so like the sun's still out during the summer.
Yeah,
and like also
we all drink on the side, just not like.
The challenge though of it is trying to play a game of kickball with just one hand because we're always holding the cup.
You have to always hold the cup.
That's the challenge. They were the first team we've played in this league who every single time there
Anything
was like
happened.
a new out, they'd yell cup check ref, cup check
because you have to have something in your cup.
Right, because there's which we did, but I think it has to be up to like a certain level.
You just can't see the bottom. It's actually way more lax than you think it is.
Because the way that they were acting was that like half of us were
That's why everyone was fucking pissed off. And there was one girl who scored a home run, and her cup was literally fucking empty. Yeah. It was insane.
We never were like, cup check. That
literally
really count.
Never. And the fucking woman with the homophobic child was like the pitcher, and I saw her get red in the fucking face. She was like yelling at the ref, and I was like, bitch, you gotta fucking tone it down.
Also, she broke the rule several times while pitching, which we didn't know until the refs enforced it, because that's how casual we are about all of it.
It turned out that like one of the refs was getting trained, and so it was like way more strict than normal. But
also at the same time, you can't be like, I know every rule, and then not follow the rules, and then be kind of pissy when you get told to follow the rules.
He's just like whatever. Anyway, the second part, I'm not there for the kickball. If
Is
that
this still
wasn't
part of
clear to
Pride?
anyone.
Yeah, this is still Pride.
I also had like
Oh, it's this
rainbows
part.
on my face, and so whatever. We go to Flip Cup because that's my Roman Empire.
I want to pause real quick for an informational slide. So this league, winning the kickball game earns your team 2 points.
Nope, 1 point.
No, 2 points for kickball.
1 point. You get 1 point for kickball, 1 point for Flip Cup, and if you win both, you get 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm like 99%. So
I'm just going to look at what the standings
check
mean
if
then.
it is, yeah. But so yeah, there's a game of kickball, and then you go to a local bar where they have like a deal, and you get like a 2-for-1 deal on like a pitcher of beer or whatever, and you play Flip Cup, and you don't have to drink if you don't want to. Like you can use water or whatever. The day our team loses at Flip Cup is the day I quit the team. I'm not fucking around with that shit. All right, I'm fucking livid.
Oh my God, have you looked at the standings?
No, if we're in the lead, I swear to. Wait, I want to see. Wait.
By a lot. We have 5 points. The second place team has 0, and the other teams we've beaten are like -2.
Wait, no,
or
that's just the difference.
point difference.
Point
yeah.
difference. Wait, so
But this
what
is
does
where
that
this is
mean?
where we actually stand.
Yeah. I don't know what those numbers mean, but we are in the lead, and that's crazy. That's actually. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. We got 3 and 3 and 1.
Yeah, you get 2 points for winning the kickball game, and then 1 point for winning.
I mean that
Flip
at least
Cup.
makes more sense because the
Anyways.
rest of us were like, why do you get the same number of points for both?
We have been. We did crush them. It was best 4 of 7, and we swept them in 4.
The first 4 games. I don't know what the fuck they were doing, in truth, but your girl got her cup landed on the first try every single time. That's how I thought being mad was going to make me worse at this game. No, it actually focused me.
I love that the question was, how was Pride? And you were like, let me talk to you about the
I'm
kickball
still
game
mad
that you were
about it.
in.
I can talk about it. There's a lot of things on this list that need to be behind a paywall.
Oh, from Pride?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good too.
Yeah. I do have a fun little conversation that I overheard at Beer Garden. Do you have anything else from Pride that you
No,
want to
let's
talk
do this.
about?
I'll because we need Patreon stuff. So
that's
then I'll
true.
share some of my stories from on Patreon.
Okay.
This can be the last little story before your story.
Let's set the scene, right? Casey and I
Real quick.
Casey and I are at the Beer Garden.
There we go.
We're at the Beer Garden, and they're like sitting across from us, or like on the table next to us is an older gentleman. I would say like 50s, maybe 60s, early 60s, if that, and then like a younger couple, a woman and a man. And they're probably in, I would say, their early 30s. And my vibe was that the woman and the older man, whose name was Tim, I didn't catch the names of anybody else, but the older man, Tim, and the woman knew each other, I want to say from like the gym or something like that. Like it wasn't work and it wasn't like real life or like
Right.
family life or anything. They're drinking, and I hear some crazy parts of conversation, so I'm just kind of keeping an ear out just to kind of listen for what's happening. And at some point, they decide that they're going to hit another bar before they go home. And like the older guy is trying, like kind of rushing the girl to like finish her last drink because she's the last one drinking. And the girl like sassily is like, "Are you trying to rush me, Tim?" And he was like, "Yeah, I have to be up at 3 a.m.
What time is this conversation?
Like 8, maybe.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I'm getting older now that
I
I'm
know.
like, oh my God.
I would be a seeps. But apparently he's like an engineer or something, which he said that and I was like, I don't know what kind of engineer you are. But he was saying there's like a big important day because the other two were like, why can't you just call in sick? Like, and he was like, no, it's a really important day. And so they all agreed to go to another bar for like one more drink. And the young woman, after he reiterates, I have to get up at 3 a.m, she's like, "Are you sure you want to do this, Tim? Like, totally okay if not. Like, I didn't realize how late it was getting." And the young guy who's with them is like, "I mean, he's been doing this shit since before we were born. Like, he's fine. Like in a
Sure.
like sassy kind of way." And he was like, "I bet he's fine." And Tim was like, "Yeah, I'm totally fine." And she was like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot all the crazy shit you've told me. Yeah, wait, you told me that you had a threesome and still went to work the next morning." Pause. What part of having a threesome keeps you from going to work in the morning?
I mean, that's a Patreon conversation.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm like halfway through my beer. I have a little pocket edible. I'm taking like half of it. Stops halfway to my mouth because I'm like, what is happening in this conversation? And the guy, the young gentleman, goes, threesome, like where? And he's like kind of being like where? You know,
Right,
like where can I go
right.
get that? And Tim responds, it was with my Robin, her sister, and her stepsister. And then they walked away.
Because that actually didn't answer where.
Literally, it didn't answer anything. And I just have, what do you mean my? What do you mean my? And what do you mean they all might be related legally? Tim, you fucking dog.
I have reactions that I don't feel are safe to say in front of the
fair.
paywall. I love that place, though.
I do,
I love
too.
that place so much.
You never know what you're going to hear.
You do not. Because
Truthfully.
I'm sure 2 tables over was a child's 8th birthday party.
And like 3 tables beyond that, someone was talking about building a data center.
Yeah,
you know?
100%,
Yeah.
100%. And there are golden retrievers abandoned, like, amongst the tables.
Yeah.
No one is coming back.
I saw some really cute dogs there. But yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to do real quick. And
Yes,
then
please do that.
Yay. Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Grant,
Yeah.
what makes a genius?
You know, you were kind enough to give me like a little bit of an update.
I was like, this feels like maybe something he can prepare for.
Well, I guess I feel like that's like a very hard question to try to define.
That's the whole point.
I think you definitely know it when you don't interact with one. Like, we can make all sorts of room for people who have like different kind of intelligences
Yes.
in this world these days. But you definitely find people who aren't lighting up the board on any of them. I think a genius has like a great taste in wine. You know, I think that's a good sign. I think a genius actually kind of has a little bit of a messy desk. I think a messy desk.
I can see
a
that.
little bit of a genius there. I mean, they always say that like geniuses can like explain complex concepts to like a 5-year-old, or like you don't really know a topic until you do something like that. You know, I'll put it this way. When I'm in casual conversations with other speech coaches, like we were just at nationals, right? And I think I'm pretty good at coaching most of the competitive events that we have to offer. But every now and then I'll talk to someone who like really knows an event, and I'll be like, I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Like, I've had state champions in this event, and I don't know anything.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think geniuses possess that kind of quality.
Okay. Do you think you can be genius in, like, what things are geniuses smart in?
I'm going to Google his name real quick to make sure I get it right, because he's one of my favorite artists. I'm pretty sure his name is Julio Torres. Yes. Julio Torres is this like comedian. He's done 2 incredible specials. And the first one is My Favorite Shapes. And the second one is just Colors. And My Favorite Shapes, he goes, this next shape, it says, listen, I have a job to do, and I'm sorry if you don't like my job, but my job's super important. Like, it underpins the entire economy. And this object is the curtain between first class and economy on a plane. Like a funny joke I have never heard before. I instantly got.
Understand,
It all kind of collapses in on itself in like this fantastic way. And then Colors is a lot like that too. I think that's genius. And I don't think there's any real way to define that. You know what I mean?
Do you think people can be geniuses in more than one thing?
Oh, gosh, no, I don't think God gives with both hands in that way.
Okay, so my next question, which I did not ask you ahead of time, is in highly successful students that you see or interact with, are there common threads that you see between them in like personality traits or hobbies or...
So yeah, but also because in my field, like there's a very stringent definition on what success looks like.
Yeah.
A lot of those students feel like they do not have good executive functioning skills.
Yeah.
They actually have quite a high level of executive functioning, but then I think also take on gladly way more, and that feels overwhelming. And so I think they're doing things that most kids would struggle to do, but they don't see it that way. And so I think they just operate from this baseline expectation around their own ability that is much, much higher.
Yeah. They feel like they have executive dysfunction.
Yes, but they also don't understand that they're playing a game that a lot of their classmates aren't.
Literally have no idea how to play.
Correct. That they're in a world that doesn't exist to the majority of the people they interact with. So there's a big thing there. There's a lot of them have really strong people skills. A lot of my like most brilliant students are also like carry themselves with confidence. Again, like very specific ecosystem that I live in. And I would also say a lot of them express compassion and a lot of empathy. And one of the things I see them struggle with the most is a feeling of powerlessness around the things that they are most concerned about or empathetic towards.
Right. Are there any tactics that you use primarily when you're teaching those kinds of kids?
Bullying through empathy, I find, has
that feels good.
tremendous amount of success for
I've
me
seen
so
it
far.
in progress. It's worked on me anyway. So the next big question.
Okay. I love this little education podcast that we have right now.
Do you think geniuses are made or born?
Born, for sure born.
Yeah? You don't think you can make one?
No, but I also think as well, like, I think you can make highly successful people, right? I think there's like plenty of ways to do that. But I think a genius is the kind of person that thinks about their subject area all the time and are thinking about it in ways that others aren't, right? That they are coming to conclusions that feels obvious to them and that others haven't even
begun to think about.
Yeah.
Excellent. That is where our story is going to start.
Amazing.
With a man named Laszlo Polgár.
Laszlo. I'm kidding. I have no idea who that is. I just haven't done that to you in forever.
I honestly did not believe that you knew who this was. I was like, okay.
Laszlo Polgár. Everyone knows that. The famous Hungarian genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows it's Hungary because I already told him that, all right?
Shit, was I not supposed to give that away?
No,
we can cut
it's
it.
in my first sentence.
Great, amazing.
Yeah. Laszlo Polgár, he was born May 11th, 1946, which means he's a Taurus, and he was born in Hungary.
Great.
In university, he studied intelligence. I don't know what that means, but that's what they said. He studied intelligence, and he decided early on that he wanted to test the nature versus nurture theory. As a father.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So he prepared for fatherhood long before he met his future wife, Clara. He prepared by reading and studying the biographies of 400 of the great intellectuals like Socrates, good God, Socrates and Einstein. And he believed that if he was given any newborn child, he could make them into a genius.
And is that the line he was using on ladies in Budapest?
Well, I don't know how he met Clara, but I know that the love letters he sent her were not filled with, I love the way you look and I miss you so much and you're beautiful. It was like, and then when we have our second child, when they're 5 years old, we can do this. And it'll make them.
No.
And Clara was kind of like, go off, King. I don't know. She seemed fine.
I'll just say this right now at the start of the podcast, and we're going to laugh about it because it is funny now. Everyone thinks it's funny. Most importantly, I think it's funny. My parents took a very similar approach at trying to create a sports star out of me.
Did they give up for Griffin?
They didn't give up nearly early enough.
Well,
I'm like 13 and still being signed up for sports teams. And it's like, why? What are
after all the stories I've heard of you not catching things and watching your great hand-eye coordination, which actually does make me feel so good about myself. Like, mine is also pretty bad.
Like I said,
yeah.
God doesn't give us both hands.
It's fair. You get the comedy or the athleticism.
Sometimes he gives us one and he kind of drops a little bit on the way.
And Casey ran 2 home runs at our last
so good
kickball league.
And my boyfriend, who's captain, knows how to load the bases up with the lineup before Casey goes up.
He really does.
You and I just kind of stand in the corner and we're like, look at our men go.
And then I have to kick after Casey, though, which is so embarrassing. The bases are empty. And then the person who kicks after me can't kick. So I just end up running back and forth between first and second base.
And we're all like, Maya, no, sorry. Go to second.
I was on third one time, Casey was like, run on anything. And I was like, don't fucking tell me what to do. I never run on anything. I was so mad. Anyway.
So Laszlo's raising children like us.
Yes, exactly. His thesis, our geniuses are made, not born.
Okay.
So he eventually does meet Clara, who will become his future wife. She was a teacher, and in 1965, or she was a teacher in 1965. He would later recall that they both agreed that the school system as it was did not produce the most impressive individuals. Which, I mean, fair, I guess. So he had then put together the common threads of all these biographies that he had read.
Okay.
He realized that they all started their like specialty, because he agreed that geniuses are geniuses and like usually one thing. They all started their specialty at the age of 5, by the age of 5. And from then on, studied that subject for 8 to 9 hours per day. So I ask you now, is that child abuse?
Yes.
I don't know. I was like, this is crazy.
Yes, that's child abuse.
Okay, cool. So him and his wife would have 3 daughters together. First one we're going to talk about is Suza. It's Z-S-U-Z-S-A. But she goes by Susan, so that's what we're going to call her. She was born April 19th, 1969. She's a Aries Taurus cusper. I don't know why I felt into zodiac.
A lot of really
this.
dedicated people in this story.
Yeah. Then we have Sophia, whose name also starts with a Z for some reason. Born November 2nd, 1974, Scorpio. And then we have Judith, the youngest of the group, born July 23rd, 1976, in a Cancer Leo cusper.
But they're all 70s.
Susan is 69.
Okay.
But then the rest of them, or the Sophia and Judith, are both 70s. So the idea for this experiment that emerged at starting in 1970, so when Susan was 1 year old, was, quote, a simple premise that any child has the innate capacity to become a genius in any chosen field as long as education starts before their 3rd birthday and they begin to specialize at 6. So after Susan is born, the question quickly becomes, what should her specialty be?
And can I say right here, real quick, I love this quote. I've said it earlier on the podcast before, but I'm going to say it right now. Teachers in elementary schools cannot tell which kids were breastfed and which ones were fed with formula. They have no idea which kids eat off of like metal plates and which ones eat off of plastic.
Tyler, if you're listening.
They know instantly which kids are getting read to at home. They know instantly which kids are hearing words and have books around them. So part of me is like, okay, so what does Laszlo have to say about all this?
There's a lot of fucking books in their home. If you look up pictures, it's all books,
but
all bookshelves on the wall. Yeah, no.
Because they
care instantly, very deeply about the development of all of their kids.
Right.
Which...
Great.
Yeah, says a lot.
Not nearly enough people have had that in their lives.
Yeah, and maybe Laszlo could have used a little less, but like...
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah.
So stop cheering for Laszlo.
Laszlo's fine. Like, he's just a classic boomer parent that you're kind of like, you were a little intense, but you seem relatively unproblematic now. He's still alive as far as I know. They had to battle the Hungarian government to get permission to homeschool their kids because they were kind of like, if this bitch goes to regular school, she's not going to be able to specialize the way that we want her to.
Right. Shout out to not allowing homeschool, though. It's super toxic and it's awful for your children, and you should never do it. You are not qualified to teach them. You should not be homeschooling your children. Put them in public school. You're not qualified. Keep going.
That's probably true. Here might be a little different because this was a communist government, but now today, so they started teaching her a bunch of languages at a very young age: Esperanto, German, Russian, English. I think now she may know 7 languages. I don't know. What is Esperanto?
A made-up language. That was the dream after World War II of there being a language that belonged to no one so it could belong to everyone.
Oh, that's cool.
And so like big-time academias loved Esperanto and tried to get it to launch. But obviously the hard thing is no one spoke it. So
that's weird to make a dead language the then universal language.
I mean, it was very cool in the sense of like it was like rejecting like a colonial power structure. Like we're not going to pick English or French.
I can get behind the idea.
Yeah, but in practice
it's not going to work. So one day, they also started teaching her very high level math. But one day when Susan was about 4, she opened a drawer to reveal a chessboard and asked her dad to teach her. And the other reason that the documentary gave, there's a documentary that we'll talk about, for picking up chess was that it was cheap and easy to own. And they lived in communist Hungary and were relatively poor. So, and lived in a very small rundown house that Laszlo remembers having like wet walls from floor to ceiling. Like they didn't have, like, they weren't going to the tennis courts every day, you know, to make a Serena Williams. So they start teaching her chess. Susan is like 4.5 to 5 years old. Her parents take her to a chess club in Budapest. She asks for a game and is laughed at by all the older men that are there, all like smoking cigars and shit. She wins.
Of course she does.
And remains sportsmanlike. And I just want you to imagine sitting across from
a 5-year-old.
A 5-year-old who just sticks her hand out for a victory handshake. And it's just like ego broken, ego crushing is how it was described. And then very soon after, it was dominating the city's like 11 and under girls tournaments with like a near perfect or perfect score. So when Sophia and Judith were born, they were quickly curious about like, hey, why does Susan go into that room and learn chess for so long? Can we also learn how to do that? And so Laszlo was like, I'll show you what she's learning, but you have to agree to also study with her. And they were like, son of a bitch, I'm in.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, they were like, abso-fucking-lutely. And so the father taught them the basics and also was homeschooling them entirely. Again, something that they had to get permission from the government to do. But they basically practiced chess like all day, every day. Laszlo, quote unquote, made hundreds of thousands of flashcards. I don't know if that's an exaggeration. Felt like it to me, but also this is the 70s, so what do I know? So the girls were like studying and memorizing these flashcards that had like positions on chessboards that they then had to like puzzle out. The room that they were learning chess in was covered on the wall of like chessboard like puzzles that they then had to go and solve and then get quizzed on later. And so this next section is called Educational Montage.
I want you to know I plan on doing this with my children, but just speech and debate kids.
I'd be disappointed if you didn't. Yeah.
Again, a joke.
Yeah. Good. Okay, so
they're going to get a chance to choose which starter Pokemon they want when they're 5, me or my partner. So it's soccer or speech.
I was going to say, it has to, one of you chooses. Do you get Clemmy or does he get Clemmy?
I hate that you use that name because you know that it's now been rejected because you think it sounds like an STI.
Because it sounds like an STD.
I love clementines.
So anyway, let's learn some chess basics.
Okay.
Right?
Wait, for reals?
Yeah.
Oh, this is fun. Where did you get this? I almost spoke that into my drink. Where did you get this?
Look what I got with my adult podcast money.
This is your cue to jump over to the YouTube
if you want to come to the video, you can. I bought like a chessboard.
Oh, they slide in. Gotcha.
Yeah, they do a little slide in. Okay. So I know you and I kind of know chess.
Yeah.
Kind of. Okay. Personally, I'm great at Duolingo chess, but I know it's not something that everyone knows. So let's talk about chess basics. So the first thing that the Polgár sisters learn is the setup of the board and how many pieces, or in like the pieces that you have, right? So here's the board. If you want to come to YouTube, come to YouTube. If not, I'll maybe make Grant do a lot of explaining because he's better at it than I am. But we will cover a few things. I'm not going to like do a ton of visual stuff, but for the visual stuff, it's going to be right here.
Do you want me to tell them the lineup?
Yeah, well, I'm getting there.
Okay.
So the setup is there are 32 spaces. It's like an 8x8 grid that is like a checkerboard pattern. And there are 16 white pieces, which on this board are red to like differentiate them from the color squares, and 16 black pieces. Each side has 8 pawns, 2 rooks, which are the castle-looking boys, 2 knights, who are the horses. And then I was clearly going through when I wrote this. I wrote, once I make my move, the king will take me.
You're free to check the king.
Run, no!
He's on a sacrifice himself.
He's gonna sacrifice himself! He's riding the knight in that situation. Then you also get 2 bishops, and then 1 king and 1 king. Happy Pride. 1 queen and 1 king. Good God. Okay.
You're killing it.
Clearly. So,
I have this little device to remember the order.
Yes.
The knights serve in the castle, and the bishops serve the king and queen.
That's smart. I like that.
Because people get the knights and the bishops switched up, I think, a lot of times.
I just get the name of these two switched up. I can never remember that this is the rook. In my head, this is a castle.
Yeah.
I don't
castle.
know. Yeah, exactly. So if you're going to imagine the grid, the white side is always usually on the bottom when you're viewing the grid. And so it'll be numbered from 1 to 8 going up from the bottom left corner. And then from right to left, the columns, which are called files, are going to be lettered from A through H. And then the rows here are called files. So you have rank and file. And then do you want to describe how the pieces are laid out? You kind of did already, but
yeah, I mean, you have a row of pawns and then the two rooks, aka the castles at the far end, served by the knights, which were next to them. The bishops, which are next to the knights, serve the king queen.
Yes. What about the king and queen? Can you talk about that layout?
They're next to each other.
How are they like related across?
They face off against the other side's king. I don't know what
that
question you're trying to. That
always bothers me though, because if I see that this is how white is set up and I'm gonna set up black, I want the queen to be on that side for some reason, because that's how it is, like looking at it from that. I don't know why it pisses me off so much, but the queen is always on the color square that it is. So red in this case is on white, and then black is on green. Okay, cool. What is the goal of chess, Grant?
You want to, you never actually get to eliminate the king.
No.
But you want to put the king player in a position to where they cannot move because they're going to be destroyed the next round.
Yep.
So it usually means moving a piece into position to put pressure on the king, which is check. Mm-hmm. And then if you've managed to set up the rest of your pieces, that as you move that character into position, that king can't retreat to anywhere else, then you're in a checkmate situation.
And that's the end of the game. Yep. Yeah. So there's two things. There's check and checkmate. All checkmates are check. Not all check is checkmate, if that makes sense. So when you are in check, that means your king is currently in a position where it's being attacked by an opposing player. And once you're in check, you have no other option than to get out of check.
Right.
You can't move anything else.
You can move other things if it will help get you out of.
So you can move the king, you can capture the piece that's putting you in check, or you can move one of your pieces to block the check. You just have to somehow end the check. And by putting your opponent in check, you then gain what Casey taught me is called action economy, and he's over there, so I don't want to talk too loud because then he'll get a big head about it. But it's like a D&D term, but it basically means like you're taking away moves that they would use to develop their strategy, and they can no longer do that because they're on the defensive. So, and then at the end of the game, you're in checkmate, which just means that the king or any other piece on the board can't get you out of the situation that you're currently in. No matter what happens, your king is getting squashed.
Destroyed the next round.
Usually in like tournament games, the player that's like about to lose, like they see it coming a few moves away and will just resign. So if you're looking like I was earlier at tournament chess games and looking at the like ending positions of all the pieces and you're like, this isn't checkmate. I don't know what the end of this. That's why. Took me a second. Typically, both check and checkmate will be verbally announced by the attacking player as just a form of like respect. Part of chess is like respect. Like it's kind of like soccer in that like there's some rules that don't make any goddamn sense. And it's really just to like be respectful of the opposing player and your own team. There are a few other things that can end a game aside from a checkmate. There are ties, which are called draws. And there are a number of things that can cause a draw, such as like agreement, something called perpetual check, which means that like you're keeping that player in check, but like no matter, and so they have to move, but there's no way that they can move like far enough to like continue to stay out of check. And that in combination with something called the threefold repetition rule, which is if there are 3 separate times that the exact same board is played, then the game is over because it's just going to keep being that way. And then there's a stalemate and then a 50 move rule. So there's a bunch of ways that games can be stopped because a lot of times in tournaments, these games will go on for like a multitude of hours. We're going to talk about one game that goes on for like over 6 hours today. So how do all these pieces move, Grant?
Pawn moves forward. The pawn moves forward 2 if it's its first round.
It can.
Or
it
can move forward 1, and then after it's moved the first time, it moves 1 forward. Mm-hmm. Pawns always have to attack up and to the left or right,
diagonally,
and so it slides. And that's the only way to get a pawn out of its lane. Mm-hmm. The knight is fun. The knight is the only one that can jump over other players. It moves in an L. So it's up 2 over 1 or up 1 over 2.
Yep.
The bishop moves in a diagonal pattern, but again, because it cannot jump over players, it begins the game trapped behind your own pawns.
It can move forward and backwards. All the pieces can move forward and backwards except for pawns.
The rook is the same thing. It can move not diagonally, but up and down and then left and right. It stays on its own pattern. Also can't jump over your pawns. The king only moves 1 square, but in any direction you want to. And then the queen is that way, but for as many squares as you want. So she can move up and down, or she can move diagonally for as many squares as she wants until, you can't jump over your own player.
She also can't jump, but she can move. She a powerful bitch. It's really a metaphor about ruling, I think. I don't know.
In the times I play with the children, I managed to, usually pretty early on, capture their queen. I usually have to sacrifice like a bishop or a knight to do it.
And that's acceptable.
But I take out their queen and it just so destroys their spirit. And here's the thing.
It's hard to play chess when you don't have a queen.
I'm not necessarily trying to teach them to play chess. I'm trying to get this game over.
And that's real. That's real. All pieces aside from pawns capture the same way that they move. They just have to take over a space that's being occupied by a piece that they want to capture. Pawns can only capture diagonally. And then the unique thing about rooks is that, pretend this is like the bottom of the board. If neither the rook or the king have moved yet in the game, you can do this thing called castling, which is the only time you can move 2 pieces at the same time. And what it does is just serve to protect the king a little bit. And so the king will move either 2 spaces left or right, depending on which side you're castling on. So what I'm showing right now would be a queenside castle or a long castle. And so you would move this 2 spaces to the left, and then the king or the rook just goes to the opposite side of that king, and that's called castling. Unique thing about the king as well is that you can never move into a space that would put you into check. I mean, like, obviously, but when you're castling, you can also not move into, out of, or through check. So you can't be in check to castle. You can't, any of the pieces or any of the spaces that you move over can't be in check, and you can't move into a space that is in check. So that is also unique.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
Do you remember the Netflix show years ago, Queen's Gambit? Is it getting mentioned in today's episode?
Yeah, vaguely at the end.
Okay. I remember being at Target like a month after that movie came out, and it was like, get the official movie game or whatever, and they were just selling chess boards,
just regular chess,
just like now advertising around Queen's Gambit on it.
Fair enough.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess if it gets more people to buy chess, great.
Yeah. So the person that we're gonna really focus on today is probably one of the primary inspirations for Beth in that show. Do you know any of like the tournament rules for chess?
No.
Okay, so you'll probably recognize them when you hear them, but one is called the touch move rule. Do you know that? It's like once you touch a piece, you have to move it or you have to capture it. If you've touched a like opponent's piece, you in any way you legally can, you then have to capture it. Or if it's your piece, you have to legally move it. If you can't legally move it, there is no penalty, but you have like it's a sincere risk, yeah. And then once you have moved a piece, once you let go of that piece, you can your turn is over. You cannot move it again. And so there are a few nuances with that when it comes to like castling and when it comes to pawn promotion and stuff.
Is this why our mics are so pushed forward today?
Yes. Because I found out about 10 minutes before you showed up that it was going to block a lot. Yeah. And then for disagreements, as something Grant knows a lot about in tournaments, but not these kinds of tournaments, if there's something that happens in a game that you are playing and you are like, I don't know if that was legal or whatever, you have to bring it up immediately. If you then make your next move, you have lost claim to make any claim about it, which I think speech and debate should take into account.
We do kind of, that's a whole different conversation, but heard for sure.
Thank you. Okay. Grant, how do you know how good someone is at chess?
Don't you get the title of like Grandmaster? Okay.
Do you know what Grandmaster means?
That you're really good at chess.
So
is that not the question?
I mean,
you just
like
asked?
You're right, but I cannot stop saying Caleb Hearens. I mean, you're right, but why be right? I've said it so many times to Casey and he hasn't picked up on it. I finally had to tell him like it's Caleb Huron that I'm quoting. Watch Caleb Huron special on HBO if you haven't already. Good. It's iconic. So there is a rating system in chess. And I think if you like start out on chess.com, they like automatically give you a 1200 rating, which is actually probably way higher than most people actually are.
Okay.
But I think technically you like don't get your rating until you've completed a certain number of baseline games, and then it assigns it to you. And your rating will change for every official game that you play. The rating system is meant to encourage you to continue to play more challenging players. So instead, if you want to like legitimately get better at what you're doing, the only real way to do that is to continue to challenge yourself and play someone of a higher rating. If you win, you will gain points. If you lose points. And if you draw, your points don't change. So for example, if there's a bunch of equations I learned from my previous mistakes that we're not going to get into it. I'm just going to tell you what happens. All right. The number of points that you gain or lose is dependent on like the probability that you win. So if we have two players, player A is lower rated at 1500 and then player B is higher rated at 1600. So like probability wise, player B is going to win. So if player B then does win, they will gain 12 points and player A, the lower rated, will lose 12 points. But if player A wins against the probability, they gain 20 points and player B then loses 20 points.
Oh, okay.
So now say if like you're super good at chess, you're at a 1600, that is like a pretty decent rating. And then player A is like 800, which is like relatively average. So player A is really low, player B is really high. If player B wins as expected, they gain literally less than a point. If player A wins, which is very much unexpected, they gain 32 points.
Wow, okay.
And then player B loses 32 points. So you see how the system like encourages you to keep moving. To enter a lot of these live in-person over-the-board tournaments, as they call it, you have to be of a certain rating. So that's another like incentive to continue to get better. So a rating from 2000 to like 22,000 is considered expert. 22,000 to 24,000 is considered a national master. And then there's like a little bit more of a breakdown in between there. There's a candidate master and a FIDE master. Then 2,400 to 2,500 is an international master. And then above 2,500 is considered a grandmaster or a GM, which is what I'm going to shorten it to. Usually becoming a grandmaster can take like 5 to 10 years. To be considered a grandmaster by a lot of these organizations, though, you not only have to have that rating, you have to go to like 3 tournaments of like 3 9-game tournaments, which is 27 games. And like the people that you're playing against have to be of a certain rating.
Okay.
You have to play like a third of your opponents have to be grandmasters. Half of your opponents have to be title holders. And then you have to gain like a norm of over 2,600. Which is like 100 points higher than 2,500. What all of this does really is create celebrities in the world of chess, right? Like, so back to our little Hungarian family, the Polgars, they're not only learning about chess from a young age, they're also very closely following the world of chess. And so at this point, the youngest person to ever become Grandmaster was a kid named Bobby Fischer, who earned the title at 15 and 6 months, like 15 years old and 6 months old, in 1958. And one of the best players in the world, he will be considered the best player in the world, like in a couple years if he's not already, is a man named Garrick Kasparov. He is from the Soviet Union. And so all the sisters would like gather around the TV and like watch him play in these tournaments, and they were all studying his opening moves and like recreating what he was doing on their own little chessboards. Garrick Kasparov, who goes by Gary, which just feels wrong.
Yeah, well, I think it is.
Yeah. It's also with 2 R's, which I'm just like Garrick is a cool, whatever, it's fine. He is from the Soviet Union, the USSR. At this point, the Soviet Union is the top country for chess players in the world. They're constantly producing male and female champions every year. And at this point, chess is kind of viewed as like a political tool. Like, what better way to show that communism is better than everything else? If you're just really good at chess, you're like intellectually superior.
Right.
Obviously. So they actually had a network of people to find who they thought might be good at chess from a young age and then bring them to like the Soviet Union chess school or fucking whatever.
There was another communist country,
Yeah.
China. Like I've always kind of wanted to do stories about this too. Before they hosted the 2008 Beijing Olympics,
Yeah.
they'd been on it for like 20 years of scouring their country and
Yeah.
finding people they thought would be good at specific sports and then put them through like a program
Yeah.
to make them good at like those sports. Because it was the first time China was hosting the
Yes.
Olympics kind of like ever. And
Yeah.
like it largely paid results and dividends. But I've always thought like that system was interesting too.
So like talk about a surveillance state.
Yeah, well, it feels like it gets as close as we get to like the Divergent series and things like that, of like that powerful government kind of
chooses you based
overreach.
off of what they think you're good at.
Yeah. I don't know if it's great, but I've always thought it was really interesting.
Like I want to know what I would be good at.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
what do you think? What do you think I'm good at?
Most of us get good at please step back into line. You're
Shit.
not coming with us.
Fuck. So the Soviet Union, the Soviet chess school was considered like the cream of the crop, producing the best. It was the place you went if you wanted the best education. And according to family lore, Gary started playing around the age of 5.5 after seeing his parents playing a chess puzzle in like the newspaper, and then was identified by this network almost immediately. So the Polgar family in Hungary would gather around the TV and watch him play. And I think all of the sisters were like, I want to play that motherfucker. But
Okay.
Judit especially. And Judit's the youngest one. Next section is called A Genius is Made. By the age of 5, Judit was already beating her father in a game. And so quickly, her as well as her sisters needed to play and learn from someone that was better than them.
Sure.
So every extra penny that the family had went into investing into the girls' chess education. The girls had chess trainers, plural, sometimes up to 3 trainers a day, one from
Whoa.
10 to 1, another from 2 to 5, and then sometimes a third one from 5 to 9.
And it's just chess 24/7.
I'm assuming they're learning other shit at some point, but maybe it's the days that they're not doing chess from 5 to 9. I don't know. But this was every day, rain or shine, no breaks for birthdays or holidays or celebrations or anything. But I did find out they had a dedicated 20 minutes a day set aside for joke telling.
This family that is not leaving the house for days at a time. Where are they getting new material
It's
from?
you and me writing in our notes app stupid little shit. Being like, oh, I have to tell this at joke time.
Great joke time stuff.
Yeah. In 1981, Judit is 6 years old. She plays her first tournament, just like in her neighborhood area. The first place prize she remembers was a little magnetic chess set that she wanted very, very much. And despite being a usually very shy kid, the desire for that chess set really made her into an aggressive player. So she won her very first tournament and the chess set, and she remembers from this point on never questioning the fact that she was going to be a professional chess
This is
player.
the youngest one, Judith?
Yes, and it's Judit. Technically,
Judit.
there's no H. But this is her
Born
winning.
for chess.
Yeah.
Born.
This is her with the trophy.
That haircut, that sweater, maybe that was just the hottest styles in Hungary in
don't
the
know.
80s,
Yeah.
but that's a chess player.
That like you see that and you're like,
Yeah.
you like to sit in front of a board game, don't you? So, Grant,
Yeah.
what's the best way to become better at something like performing like this? Or like a live competition?
Like practice, but also going and losing to better competition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Going to better
That's
competition.
why we're always traveling.
Yeah. Grant's like, please, for the love of God.
Like you go to tournaments sometimes and like, especially out of state tournaments, and it's only happened like once or twice in my coaching career, but we do so well that I'm like, shucks, we can't come back here. Not because they're not going to invite us, but like it took us so much to get us here, and it's
yeah,
like,
it's not worth it for you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah. So they knew that they needed to be not playing against the same people in their neighborhood. They needed to be playing against increasingly challenging people. And Laszlo knew that. I don't know if he was still playing them. I kind of doubt it at this point, but he was really advocating for the girls to challenge themselves. And this was going to be difficult for 2 primary reasons. One, they're not just women.
Right.
Gross.
Of course not.
But they're girls. What? So the Hungarian Chess Federation said that the girls could only play other girls or women. And
What?
yeah.
Okay.
Laszlo was like, literally, what the fuck?
Yeah. We've beaten all of them already.
And he was like, my daughters need to play the best players. And that's not like, that doesn't mean women or men. That means the best players. And of course, at this time, because of all these other fucking socioeconomic reasons, the best players are men.
Right.
That's just how it is. There's strict segregation. Women were not allowed to play in male tournaments. Bobby Fischer, who, if you'll remember, was the person who had become the youngest Grandmaster at this point, he was asked at one point if women make bad chess players. And he said, oh, they're terrible chess players. I guess they're just not so smart. Fuck you, Bobby Fischer. Fuck you.
And he was happily married, I'm sure.
I don't actually fucking know. I did zero research into him. He pissed me off. And then the interviewer asked him, does that apply to all women, do you think? And he said, I guess so. They have never turned out a good woman chess player.
Oh, whoa. And who's they, by the way?
Yeah, exactly. I think he was from the US, and so
And who set that system up?
Bobby. Whatever. And then there's another quote from William Harrison, who was an international master, which is like, we're not even Grandmaster. Shut the fuck up. But he said,
I love that you know those levels now, by the way.
I've been falling asleep to watching chess videos this last week. I just want you to know. I've gotten real into it.
Okay, great. Great. Okay. Yeah, great. That
I
makes
still
sense.
don't think I could beat Casey, at least. I don't know. He just is weirdly
find out.
talented at this kind of shit. It's stupid. Anyway, William Harrison says, quote, there's a pure mental ability needed to understand chess and to have deep, meaningful thoughts about the game. On the other hand, there's the personality required to become good at the game. The evidence is that women don't have either of these sides.
Oh, okay. Talk your shit, I guess.
He said that like on television. I was like, you want your face associated with that quote? That's crazy. But in Laszlo's words, he said, quote, women are able to achieve results similar in fields of intellectual activities to that of men. Chess is a form of intellectual activity, so this applies to chess. Accordingly, we reject any kind of discrimination in this respect. I mean, he might be kind of a child abuser in terms of forcing his kids to become really good at chess, but ally. Like, what? The second reason it was going to be hard for the girls to play increasingly difficult competitors when it comes to chess is that they lived in communist Hungary.
Right. It's going to make their travel a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about living in...
I would love to. Is this what you were asking me for?
Yeah.
Okay. So after World War II, which ends in 1945, Europe gets split in half between what we would recognize as Western democracies of France, England, and the United States, and Eastern communism, aka the Soviet Union, aka Russia.
Yes.
They split literally Germany in half. And then Austria kind of goes to the west. Hungary kind of goes to the east.
Is this the spheres of influence, or is that World War I?
It's kind of both, because this is no longer like a sphere of influence as much as Winston Churchill called it, an iron curtain.
Right.
So it's like a hard line down the middle. And this is going to be the front line, essentially, of the Cold War. And so if you were in like France, or if you were in like London or whatever, you could travel to the United States,
wherever.
you could travel to Brazil, you could do all of those things. It was great. If you were in Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Eastern Germany, which was a different country than Western Germany, Berlin Wall is this time, kind of things like that, you could travel only to other communist countries in Eastern Europe. And so it's going to be really hard for like a family of 5 in Hungary, for example, to get permission to go play in like Washington, D.C.
Literally anywhere that's outside of what they call the Eastern Bloc.
Correct. Because what people are doing, which became great propaganda for America and the West, especially by the 1980s, is people are literally risking their lives to flee communism. And then I wasn't quite sure what you were going to ask me when it came to Hungary. So then I did a bunch of research about like the end of the Cold War for them in like 89 and things like that. But that's not relevant to the story right now.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I did not enjoy reading this.
I was going to say, I feel like you probably, it was World War II. That's like your special interest area.
Yeah, well, this is the 80s, so it's 40 years later. But yeah, 100%. I was like 10 minutes late because I was like, well, now hold on. Oh, okay, well, that's interesting. Okay, wait, hold on. Okay. Oh, fuck, I gotta go.
That's like why I'm late to 90% of my engagements, is Casey's like, Uber's 5 minutes away. You gonna be ready? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Shit, sorry, I need to get this one link. Do you think they'll wait for like 2 minutes?
Casey's in the car. I don't know if she's coming, but
Yeah,
when the time runs out, you can drive away.
Yeah, he'll do that one day. Okay, so they lived in communist Hungary. The Hungarian Chess Federation was communist controlled. And Laszlo quit the Communist Party in 1981. I think it may have had something to do with him wanting to homeschool his kids, and they were like, that's not cool.
Sure.
And so the communist government restricted their travel because they were no longer in the government's good graces. And so in order to travel, you did have to be in those good graces. And if you were trying to think differently and be creative, say by choosing to homeschool your own children and try to make them geniuses for an inexplicable reason, you don't get travel permits approved. And then if you don't behave, maybe you or maybe your loved ones pay the price for that.
Right.
At this point, they were already facing like a non-zero amount of threats of authorities coming, like threatening to take the parents away and send the kids into like the foster system.
Threatening the social order.
Yeah, exactly. So they're like, we're not going to fuck with that. And so the sisters just played whatever tournaments they could get to, either in Hungary or within the Eastern Bloc. I think they were all kind of beating everyone. Judith especially. She remembers getting bored and needing new challenges. Like, she started playing blind chess. Do you know what that is?
No. Hold on. Is it that are you blindfolded and they just say out loud,
yes,
like pawn to A4?
Yeah.
And you have to hold it in your brain?
Head. Yep. She beat fucking everyone doing
this is Judith.
shit.
This is the youngest
Judith.
one.
Yeah,
okay.
I think all of them probably could, but Judith, like, I saw videos of it. And yeah, so at this point, I think Judith's dream at the time is to become one of the top 10 players in the world, which is crazy. But so now, about 1984, Susan, who is the oldest, who's now 15, was the #1 women's player in the world.
Okay.
Someone called her the Mozart of chess, which...
Wow.
Yeah, fair enough. And so the sisters started getting international recognition because she's so high ranked. And so journalists wanted to come and interview. And I also saw an article saying that maybe Laszlo was like charging a crazy amount of money for some of these interviews. And then when the journalists refused to pay them, said, you can interview me, but not the girls because they're busy learning chess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's running a business.
Yeah. I was like, fucking fair enough, dude. So journalists are like now noticing that they can't bring the girls to them for interviews. They have to travel to Hungary.
Right.
And the journalists are actually putting pressure on the Hungarian government, saying that they're discriminating against this family because they can't travel out.
Right.
Is it a human rights violation? Do you think it's a human rights violation? I'm going to write that in my article if you also write that in your article, and then everyone kind of says it's a human rights violation. And the Hungarian government is like, Jesus fucking Christ, fine. Let the fucking chess nerds travel. And then gives them back their fucking passports. Which is crazy to me.
Gives them back their passports. That's a red flag.
Big red flag.
Never let go of your passport, kids.
And so I think at this point is when they are permitted to go to the New York Open chess competition, and they get a ton of attention and notoriety. Like, they're all fucking killing it. I think at one point Judith plays 5 people at once blind and beats all 5 of them.
Wow.
What the fuck? And then in 1988, the 3 sisters get selected to be 3 of the 4 women representing Hungary at the Women's Chess Olympiad in Greece. Notice I said Women's Olympiad. This is like, they were so excited to just be able to represent Hungary in this like huge international event that they were like, okay, we'll play for the women's team. Because any other situation, they were like, why are you trying to put me in the women's tournament?
Right.
You know, and
we want to play for the Hungarian national team, not the women's national team.
Yeah. So they played in the Women's Chess Olympiad, which was held in Greece that year. And this tournament is held every 2 years. And up until this point, historically, had been like seriously dominated by the Soviet Union. At this point, Susan is 19, Sophia is 14, and Judith is 12. The 4th member of their group would be a 19-year-old Ildiko Madel, who also, I mean, she held her own, which was impressive. These are the 3 girls at the tournament in Greece, and then the picture underneath is actually like a year or so later, but it shows Laszlo in it.
They're actually so stylish.
They're so cute.
Not ever leaving the house.
Yes.
I mean, maybe they're not stylish at the time. Is Judith Judith is this one?
Nope, that's Sophia, Judith,
Judith
Susan.
is in the middle.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. I would the money I would pay for Susan's sweater right there.
I would pay money for her glasses, honestly.
Do we ever see Mom in any of this? Does Mom ever surface?
She seems pretty low key. Like, they show she's interviewed in the documentary that I watched, which is called Queen of Chess, by the way. It's on Netflix. It's incredible. It was released earlier this year, 2026. But yeah, that's them with the father, and it's just like, okay. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, dedicated.
Yep, sure. So the way that this tournament was structured, there would be 3 rounds like per country that they played. So Susan would play board 1, Judith played board 2, and then Sophia and Ildiko alternated on board 3. So neither of them are playing every game. There's 3 points possible per round, based like 1 point per chessboard win.
Right.
Yeah. They get 3 points against Australia, 3 points against France. Easy money. They get 2.5 points against Greece. Susan drew.
Okay.
2 points against China. Sophia lost. 2 points against the Soviet Union.
Wow.
Both Susan and Judith drew. This is the only one that Judith would draw in. 3 wins against Cuba, 1 point against Yugoslavia. For some reason, Judith did not play the round against Yugoslavia. I don't know why, but that was their weakest round, I think. And then it goes on like that. Like, for the most part, they're getting 3 points, like, or at least 2 points every round. Judith was fucking killing it. Overall, there's 14 rounds. Her opponents were actually just like beginning to fear her from the moment she like sat down, which is something that the other sisters noticed. But I don't know if Judith noticed because she was
so
nervous. Yeah,
right.
She was just fucking in it. Hundreds of people actually started watching the tournament, which was not common for the women's tournament.
Right.
You know? So round 14 is the last round, and Hungary and the USSR are tied at 31 points each. The Soviet Union is playing Netherlands in their last round, and they end up with 3 draws. So each of their teammates draw, which means they get 1.5 points total and puts their score at 32.5. Hungary, in their last round, is playing Sweden. Judith, I think, wins her match like extraordinarily quickly because she's just like fucking watching in the background for the rest of them. So that brings the Hungarian team's points up to
32. Okay.
So now they're half a point behind.
Right.
Then Ildiko draws. So now they're tied with the Soviet Union. And then Susan's game goes on for a while because she's playing someone out of the 3 of these girls. I got real deep into I like downloaded a document with
I'm impressed at your level of chess knowledge right now.
I have like on one of those notebooks over there, I like wrote down each of the rounds and wrote down each of their scores because I was like, I don't understand how the math works. Susan was playing, of the 3 Hungarian girls, she was playing someone with the closest rating to her.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think it was above, but it was definitely the closest. The other 2 had like maybe 100 points difference between their opponents. And so finally she's able to draw, which then gives them
the win.
Yeah, by half a point.
Wow.
And this is the first time that the Soviet Union loses, I think, in a very long time. And also the first time that Hungary ever won this tournament. Between Sophia and Ildiko, remember?
It's one family.
Yes. It's like one family and then one like girl that comes over for dinner, you know? Sophia and Ildiko, who are the 2 that are alternating on board 3, they played a total of 15 matches because there was one match that they both ended up playing. They won 7, drew 6, lost 2.
Okay.
Susan played 14 games, won 7, drew 7, lost 0.
Okay.
Judith played 13 games, won 12,
drew 1.
This bitch is fucking in it.
She's so good.
She's just fucking locked in. So the team set an all-time record for the score that they ended up with. And this actually really changed how their country perceived them. They didn't have to fight for their like travel documents anymore. Susan remembers that when they left the country, they felt like black sheep. And when they came back, they felt like the golden child.
Aww.
And yeah, they were no longer limited in their ability to travel or get sponsorships. And so the sisters are like just kind of free to go roam, which means no more glass ceiling, right?
Right.
Right?
And they can play against the men now, right?
Right? According to a 1992 article, here's a quote. Some men don't think women should play in the same league with them. And others, while believing there should be no separation, nonetheless have trouble adjusting to looking across the board at the women, or in the case of Judith, a girl barely into her teens.
Who's kicking their asses.
Kicking their asses. Following this tournament, the Women's Olympiad, Judith gained around 200 rating points in about 6 months, which put her at 2555 about, which is above like where she needs to be to become a Grandmaster. By the age of 12.
At 12?
Yes.
The previous age is 15 in like 6 months.
Because she still needs all the like norms and stuff after she hits 2500. So she's there, but she is not technically a Grandmaster yet.
Right.
But by the age of 12, Judith is the #1 player in the world. And technically by rating, she's Grandmaster, but she still needs to get her norms. And remember at this point, Bobby Fischer's record is 33 years strong, and he attained the recognition as Grandmaster at 15 and a half years old. And with that, we're gonna take a little break.
So she
and
has
refresh.
years to catch up with Bobby at this point.
And it is gonna take a couple years because she needs to attend enough tournaments, and those
Well,
tournaments
they're
have to
not
have the
letting
right.
her attend a lot of these
Yes,
tournaments.
and it's not easy to attend those tournaments. So
Right.
yeah, but we'll talk. Okay,
All right.
we'll be right back. In January of 1991, Susan Polgár became the third woman ever to be given the title of Grandmaster.
Okay.
And she's 16, and that makes her the youngest woman to be ever become Grandmaster.
So I love that we have this whole story about it's
Judit.
Judit. Okay. No H.
Yeah.
Judit, who's obviously onto greatness, but before she has gotten there fully,
Susan's
her sisters are also having careers.
Yeah. I don't know if Sophia ever got to Grandmaster. There's a solid chance she did. She seemed like a
Sure.
much more private person, but
Sure.
Sophia was there, and there's an interview where it's like her and Judit sitting on a couch next to each other, and someone's asking her who do you think will be number one in the world or something? And she was like, I don't know, but I might be sitting next to her, which was very much
That's really sweet.
I know that I'm good, but I know my
It's
sister's
not
better.
me. Yeah.
And so 1991, there is the Hungarian Super Championship. Judit is now 15 years old and 4 months.
Okay.
This is her last chance, and also the last tournament that she needs in order to become a Grandmaster.
Okay.
And it's also the last chance she has in order to beat Bobby Fischer's record. She was not considered a serious contender, as always, but nonetheless, she prevailed, and it came down to the last match against her and Grandmaster Tobar Tolnai. All she needed in order to become Grandmaster at this point was to not lose, which means she can win or draw.
Right.
But in order to win the championship, she needs to win.
Right.
And so she has this, do I go
Two
for the full
forces.
attack?
Right.
Or do I recognize that I could just draw? And so the tactics between those two can be very different, starting very early on in the game, depending on when you recognize you're on the defensive. And of course, Judith's going to try and beat this motherfucker.
Of course.
She's an aggressive bitch. All right. And so things are going fine until she makes an intentionally very unexpected move where she moves her knight to c4, which is...
Not us both looking at the board
I
at the
know,
same
it's
time.
right here. And it's... Part of chess is taking control of this center area, because if you take control of the center area, it limits the opponent's ability to take the center area and also makes it way easier for you to start attacking their higher value pieces. And Judit, of course, ends up winning. And she becomes a Grandmaster at 15 years old in 4 months, which
makes her the youngest
makes
ever.
her the youngest ever by a month or a little over a month. And also breaks her sister Susan's record that she had for the youngest female Grandmaster. Susan had held that title for solid 11 months.
Sure.
Which I love. So they're all very high ranked. I think they're all Grandmasters. I don't know if Sophia is a
all that way.
Grandmaster, but 1994, they go to Linares. Linares, Spain is described as the Wimbledon of chess.
Wow,
It's
okay.
the best of the best. I don't think Susan is here. I believe it's just Judit at this point. I think, yeah. This is Judith's first elite tournament. And it's all the best of the best players.
Now is the youngest Grandmaster in the world.
Yes. And she's the first woman to be invited to this elite tournament. Of the 14 players that have been invited, she has the 12th rating. So she is pretty low on the
She's
board.
not the last one in, but she's sneaking
not
in.
high.
No.
Yeah, she is rated at 2630. And the top player who's at this tournament, none other than Garry Kasparov, who is at 2805.
Okay.
He had won the previous 2 years of this Linares tournament. He was considered to be the best player in the world at this time. And this is the first tournament where she's going to achieve one of her dreams, at least, of playing against Garry Kasparov, someone who she had been watching since she was a child, basically. And she studied for months leading up to this tournament. She studied records of his old games, seeing his opening moves and what he does and how she can best counter that. And so she gets her chance to play Gary. And this would be the first time the best male chess player in the world would face off against the best female chess player in the world. And obviously she has a lot to prove. And she gets to play white. And that's considered advantageous because white always goes first. And I'm going to see if I can send you this link.
Almost always.
Queen's pawn. Interesting. Why is that?
Because then I bring my little horsey up, and it helps take the center, and my kids don't know what to do beyond that.
I mean, fair enough.
That's why I do it that way. What about you?
I don't know that I've played enough chess to actually know what my opening move is. We're going to talk about some opening game movements.
Okay.
All right. So
Do you want me to open up this link?
maybe in a second.
Okay.
So her first move is going to be the king's pawn opening.
This is Judit at this Lenora tournament.
Linares. Her first move is always pawn to e4, which is considered the king's pawn opening. And as you can expect, it moves the king's pawn into the center, and so already gives her the advantage. This is considered like the most popular first move in chess. Grant, what do you see with this? What does that do for white?
Gives her 3 different things she can do. Bishop can slide all the way from F1 all the way up to A6.
Yep.
Queen can go slide diagonally the opposite direction from D1 all the way up to 4H.
Yep.
H4. H5. Yep, H5. And then the both of your knights have...
Yep.
No, but one of your knights has the ability to cover it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The space that the pawn just surrendered, so you can still protect your king if you need to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But most... we're not going to talk about
Like, I can move this guy here, is what I'm trying to say.
That's considered a blunder, but we can talk about that later.
Okay.
I just know a lot about this particular opening move.
Great.
But yeah, what this does, Grant nailed it, is that it gives white the ability to develop their kingside bishop and their queen, and also gives them early control over the middle of the board, which in this case is d5 and f5, these 2 pieces, which is where the pawn is starting to control. So, Grant, what do you think the most common next move is for black?
For black?
Yeah.
Do you just respond and move your black king pawn to e5?
So this is the most common next move. This, once this happens, is called the double king's pawn game or an open game.
Okay.
And the pros of this are the exact same as they are for white, is that it gives them the ability to develop their kingside bishop as well as their queen, and also gives them early control of 2 of the center squares. However, what this does do is keep white in their early advantage of having like action economy, and that like they're 1 step ahead of developing their game, and black is not. In an ideal world, what would happen next is that white would then move their queenside pawn up to the center. They can sacrifice this pawn, and this is probably going to be more of a visual bit. I'm sorry for you guys that are audio listeners.
By pulling up her white queen alongside their first pawn.
Yeah.
Their white pawn. White queen pawn up next to the pawn. You're going to lose that, but then you're going to take the pawn that takes your pawn.
Yes. So what this does, the pawn is going to take this other pawn here, which then it does a couple things, and we're going to talk about it. But putting their pawn here and reciprocating what the king's pawn open did is trying to discourage what I just did, because it does put pressure on this piece. This piece gives white control over like the entire center of the board. And that's not what Garry Kasparov does.
So he doesn't respond with his own pawn.
He does respond with his own pawn. He does not respond with the pawn that most people would respond with. And this is something that Judit knows. He responds with the Sicilian defense, which is this pawn that moves here. What do you see with this, Grant? This moves to c5.
He's basically taking ownership of a different part of the middle ground area, and it's going to be hard for you to challenge and remove it like immediately.
Yes, so it's a weaker opening move, like on a technicality, right? Instead of being able to develop your bishop and your queen now, you are only able to develop your queen. But what it does do is it continues to give you control over this d4 square, like discouraging development of this square. But if you do put your pawn on d4 and they take it, instead of this kingside pawn moving to take this, now you have 3 pawns in your center file, which are these 2 center columns, which gives you more attacking power and is also not seen as a good swap. Whereas if you move this pawn, trading these pawns is not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because you still have 2 center pawns and whatever. But trading this flank pawn, as they call it, for this center file pawn is not considered a good trade. So it, I think, discourages that move more so than the other one. So this is the Sicilian defense. But basically this Sicilian defense, I think the Sicilian like set of moves or whatever the fuck it's called, it tends to lead to a crazier game. Just because the development is just going to be a little bit asymmetrical. Okay, we're going to pause for like 2 seconds while I set up this next thing. Okay, we're back. We're at move 36. So she has just moved her knight, I don't know where it was, but to here, to D2. This is going to be a bit of a visual thing, but if you're an audio listener, keep listening because it does become important. So it's Gary's move.
Okay.
Again, and he moves his knight to C5.
Okay.
What do you see that Judith can do?
Like, obviously right away, she could slide and take that knight, but then the rook will take her queen. If she, I would maybe slide my rook up and take the pawn to start putting pressure on that rook, which I could eliminate.
So
then with my queen, and then slide my queen into that.
What she sees is this move specifically allows her bishop to move here.
Right, putting pressure on his rook and her queen.
Yeah, double pins, which is immediately a bad thing because there's nothing he can do to stop her from taking either the rook or the queen, which are 2 of the most powerful pieces on the board. And then from here, she can take that. Basically, she couldn't move here until this knight was here because of this rook. This rook would take this. That actually took me an embarrassing amount of time to figure out. I was like, I don't understand why she couldn't just do that anyway.
Earlier?
But
is that not what she does?
What actually happens is she watches as Gary moves this piece here, lets go of it for a second,
and
picks
she
it
doesn't
up,
challenge.
and moves it here.
Which is a completely different move.
Completely different move. She is like, this motherfucker just broke the rules.
Right.
But no one is saying anything. And it was a really quick let go and grab back situation. But she's like 17, 17 years old at this point, I think, 16, 17. Initially, when he had moved here, what she also saw is that with this bishop move, it opened up the opportunity for her to draw instead of lose. She knew already she was going to lose at this point, or thought already she was going to lose at this point. But this move, she was like, that you fucked that up. That felt obvious of a fuck up, but now I can draw. But then he moved his knight back. And so she was like, okay, I'm losing again. But also, she's a 17-year-old newcomer. She's the first woman who has ever been invited to this kind of tournament. It's going to be her word against his because no one else is reacting in the audience.
Right.
And so what does she do? Like, if I make an upset, he's going to, and he says, no, I didn't do that.
And then I'm never invited back.
I'm never invited back. And it makes a bad name for inviting women to these tournaments.
Right.
So she makes her next move and doesn't say anything. And it ends with him beating her in like, I think 10 moves after this.
Okay.
But she doesn't say anything. And because she doesn't say anything, she can't legally contest what has happened. After the game, she's like at the restaurant. There's an arbiter there who's like, that she happens to get talking to. And she mentions, I would be really interested to know, there was a camera crew there. No one was behind the camera, so I didn't think it was recording, but I would love to know if like there's any chance that there was any footage. And he was kind of like, I don't know, like they're not here. It was like a team from Madrid or something.
Sure.
And word is quickly spreading, obviously, because nobody can get their mouth shut.
That she's lost or that he
No,
made a
that
mistake?
she has asked for camera footage.
Right.
Because that implies she thinks something nefarious happened. And then it comes out that she thinks he let go of a piece. And then he comes out saying that I don't think I let go of the piece, but I can't be certain. But he was like, it's crazy for her to be acting like this. and like telling people it's ridiculous, that he's like talking to journalists saying like, you need to say something about like all of this fucking crazy white male ego bullshit.
Sure.
The event organizer of this huge fucking elite tournament releases a statement saying Mr. Kasparov is an exemplary sportsman and has not required of any tricks. Like, this man doesn't need any tricks to win.
We want this man to win. He's going to win.
Like, what the fuck? And then it's revealed that the camera crew returned and they were like, we left this bitch on the entire time we were gone. So here's the video.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is the footage from the Madrid team.
Oh yeah, that hand comes off.
This is paused and like in slow motion, technically, but like there's a freeze frame.
It's off.
There's a freeze frame, and the fingers are not touching
off
the piece.
on.
Yeah.
And also, like, it's a freeze frame, but it's not like 1,000 frames per second. It's kind of old footage. Like, that hand is off.
Yeah, and you can. I don't know if this video shows it, but you can see her start to like. No, she goes to write down the move, and then as the footage continues, which I did not find a video for. This video is actually really hard to locate outside of the documentary.
Oh, really?
I think it was maybe released for a period and then taken back.
Okay.
I don't know. Why did I close my eyes?
I don't know. I was like, is that what the story was? Okay.
No, like there's so much more. So yeah, Grant not Grant.
Hi.
Gary absolutely broke the fucking rules. And what tells me the most that he broke the fucking rules, and he maybe knew it, or even if he didn't know it, he like knew that he couldn't let go of the knight piece or whatever. I don't know what her next move is, but his next move puts the knight back in its original place.
That he didn't want to move it at all. That he shouldn't have touched it in the first place.
Yes. Which is like, whatever. And so the video comes out. It's revealed that he is maybe not like an intentional cheater, but that he did break the rules. Yeah. And Judith says, nobody expects the world champion to break the rule. Like, no one expects the world champion to break the rule like this because he thinks it's much more embarrassing to lose to a girl. And the problem was I trusted my opponent and I shouldn't.
Oh, okay, Judith.
She's like kind of pissed. Like, she's still like seems happy and like fine, but
Sure.
like her words are like, fuck this bitch. Gary, who is also interviewed after the incident, says, well, she should learn some manners.
He cheated, and he was like, her decorum is the issue.
Which is like fucking crazy. And then he actually is interviewed in the documentary that is the primary source for this episode. And I'm going to say now, he seems like a fine dude. Like, whatever. This is what he says. And he's kind of like fumbling a little over his words. You can tell he's like nervous. He's like older now. He says, yes, there was a little controversy there. So I believe that I didn't feel my hand actually left the piece and that I wouldn't have done that. It's about 1 point. If you look at the video, it's about 1/10 of a second. I didn't feel that I did something wrong. So try and see it as 1/10 of a second, whether you feel it or not. It's just like...
I can't full on admit that I actually cheated
but like,
a little bit.
The video evidence is
I have seen it, and it's pretty damning.
It's pretty damning.
Pretty damning.
Yep. And then he goes on to say, this moment basically ruined my tournament because I was under pressure for the rest of the tournament by people to remind me.
Did he not win the tournament?
Nope. He came in second.
Oh, hell yeah.
I know. It feels really good to see that. Judith came in 13th, so that's tough. But the pair did not speak for 3 years after this.
Could see that, yeah.
Yeah, it was like the first time that they'd ever met, and Judith's like starstruck, and then she's like, this bitch.
He just cheated.
He just fucking cheated.
I just watched him cheat.
Yeah, what? Gary also wouldn't win the 1994 tournament. He places second. He then didn't play in 1995. There's no tournament in 1996, and then he comes back and does win it in 1997.
Okay.
But after this, I think Laszlo is... I don't know if he's like getting wary of the success that Judah is facing, or maybe he's like, I don't want like you to face all of this negative press or whatever, or like risk. I don't know what his fucking thought was, but he was suggesting that the girls go back to the Women's Olympiad.
What?
Yeah. And Judith was like, that bores me. We know we're better. So I think she's like 17, and she remembers that this is when, like, she still kept playing chess, but she was no longer really managed by Laszlo. She's making her own decisions. And
good for her.
I think the other two sisters had also started doing this, and they do this whole thing where like the Laszlo's interviewed and he was like, yeah, I mean, it hurt me. I can't believe they got married and then just like stopped listening to me. It's just like, whoa.
They fully became functioning adults and then just moved on completely.
Yeah, and that's just really fucking rude. Okay. The next section is like the next set of games that Judit plays. Right. So usually when you get close to a loss that you can't escape, you resign. Unfortunately for Judit, at her tournaments, men wouldn't resign for her.
So she has to play them out.
She has to play them all the way out. They refused to shake hands with her after she had beat them.
Of course.
Several of them would storm off. There's a lot of pictures of her sitting across from a table where no one's on the other side, like probably just letting the time run out because they have left the area.
Gotcha.
One man was quoted saying that in order to achieve her dream of being a top player, she needed to be lucky all the time.
What?
She's kicking everyone's asses. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's such a poor sport kind of moment. To get lucky all the time is like, come on.
Yeah.
Write that sentence out in front of you and look at it for a second.
Like, what are you talking about?
It's also stopping them from like learning from what she's doing.
Exactly.
Not to be like a lifelong learner.
You could just be a better player.
Right.
I don't know. There was a famous, I want to say Grandmaster, I'm not sure, but his name was Viktor Korchnoi. He called her a coffee house player. When they played against each other, she beat him.
Absolutely, she did.
And then he said, and then she had already beat him. And this motherfucker said, she can only beat me if I'm not interested in playing. And subconsciously, I wasn't interested today.
I wasn't even trying, so it's like it's not even
totally
not even
fine.
Like I wasn't even trying.
Like,
I wasn't even trying. I didn't even want to win.
Girl, what the fuck? Gary, I never got the vibe he was as misogynistic as these other players.
Okay.
I think he was he was outspoken saying like, I mean, I would like to see it. Like there haven't been any other female players. His critique of Judit specifically was that she maintained a fighting spirit for what he thought was too long in the game. Remember, these games can last for a really long time. And so he thought she was too aggressive.
So like after a point where it's like clear she's gonna win, she's still going.
No, not
after
even
it?
like in the middle game. Like there's no need to be that aggressive or like she had just a lot of energy coming into the games.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe she was fuming with rage all the time.
I would too. In 1996, the two are able to play each other again.
Judit and Gary.
Yeah, Judit and Gary at Dos Hermanas, Spain, an invitational. There is a funny story where her and her mom were in an elevator and then got trapped in that elevator with Gary and his coach. And they hadn't talked for at least 2 years at this point. And so
they just stand quietly next to each other. Iconic.
Incredible. They play the same openings, King's Pawn to Sicilian defense. She plays aggressively. Gary remembers feeling like he was playing against a lightning bolt or like an energy ball that could explode. Judit remembers that it felt like cat and mouse, that she felt like she was always the victim of Gary's winning positions, but she was always somehow making it out of there. After 6 hours, they reach the end game. Gary, I'm not going to put it up on the board, but Gary has a knight, a rook, and a king. And Judit has a rook and a king. By all accounts, based off of the board, everyone was like, this is a draw. Like, this is obviously going to be a draw. I'm not clear what specifically happened, but Judit, I guess, made some error, probably just because it had been so much time and like you're trying to always find the best move and it's hard to stay sharp for that long. But that game ended with her losing again, despite kind of the anticipation that she would do something different. Yeah.
Right.
Or no, at least draw. But the game ends up being 6.5 hours. So
these things are like all day. That's work. That's a work shift.
So long. Are you kidding me? After like 2 hours, I'm like,
I don't really want to be here
anymore. I don't want
to
do this. The pair ended up playing several games again against each other over the coming years. Judit never won or drew.
Wait, really? She always lost to Gary?
She was constantly losing to Gary.
Whoa.
Even after she was beating other world champions or like other top players. Gary said called her style, quote, over attacking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he said, but he did say he liked playing against her. He said
Sure.
like her style, while it wasn't compatible with his like playing style, felt comfortable to him because he like understood it. Gary thinks like in this documentary that was released this year, the year of our Lord 2026, says he thinks she never beat him during this time because reason number one, he was at his peak performance and he was the world's top player. And two, because she had anxiety about playing against him. And she remembers feeling like the games were just a formality. She felt like she was going into the games knowing she would lose and then still having to play the game.
Right.
And Judith typically never minded losing as long as she could be happy with the fight that she put up. But she was never really happy with her performance in front of Gary because she felt like she wasn't giving him a good fight. So let's see what Judith's doing outside of all of this, because this is a crazy amount of chess for someone who's about to be 23. When she's 23, she takes her family dog to the vet in Hungary and gets chatty with the vet, a man named Gustav Font.
Okay.
He was very friendly and smiley and talkative, and Judith remembers that appointment went way longer than it needed to. And he was so excited about her that he, quote unquote, broke protocol and asked her to go play tennis with him.
I bet he did.
If you do watch this documentary, he is so cute. The way that he talks about her, it's just...
It's refreshing.
You have a crush. That's so
like
cute.
Even still in the documentary, he has a crush
It was
on her.
very sweet. He's like talking about all the reasons that he fell in love with her. And it's just like, I really liked her like spirit. She was always like so passionate. She has this like fiery red hair and like... It's just so cute.
Man's in love.
It's very sweet. Judith remembers what it was like to win her first tournament being in love. And I was like, that's grand. That's so gross.
So gross. My brain immediately went there.
But she just was like all smiley and she was like, because I was so in love.
Yeah.
And like, so in 2000, the pair got married.
She's what, 24, 23?
23, I think. Or 24. But following this, like officially, Laszlo is not her acting manager.
Sure.
And
hopefully she's her acting manager, not her husband.
No. I think she is, like he's kind of like a thought partner or whatever.
Sure.
But for how weird Laszlo is, like he's experimenting on his fucking children and making them into chess prodigies and all of that. It does seem, I don't know if they have a healthy relationship, but it does seem he views that time period in a healthy way, as does she. Like, she recognizes that it was a weird ass fucking thing. I think all the sisters realize that it was a kind of a crazy thing. I don't know if they resent their father. If any of the sisters resent their father for like kind of forcing this path on them, it's probably Sophia.
Okay.
But
that makes sense too. She did not have the career that her two sisters did.
No, she didn't seem, I think she loved it. I don't think she loved it as much.
Sure.
He was definitely hurt when the sisters like didn't choose to like stay with him forever, but aren't all parents, you know.
A little hurt when that decision comes in.
Every time. But by the year 2000, she was the top women's player for 11 years straight. Wow. Her overall ranking in like the men's and women's was 32.
Okay.
And she wanted to be in the top 10, but she felt like she was stuck at an Elo rating, which is what those ratings are called, an Elo rating in the 2600s. And once you hit like 2700 is when it's like widely accepted that you're kind of in the top 10.
Okay.
That tends to be where that breaking point is, but she cannot get past there. But with Gustav, she learned that you can have new strategies. He said to her, quote, I told her a big secret. In chess, there is winning, there is losing, and there is a third option, a draw. Because previous to this, she was known to be an incredibly offensive player,
right.
an incredibly aggressive player. But if you draw, you don't lose points. And so when she at this point, she starts recognizing, I don't have a solution to this. I'm going to change my strategy and shoot for a draw. She realized that the draw is preferential to losing. And she was like, this hot fucking man taught me that it's okay not to lose.
Yeah.
And to like accept something that's not the thing that I want.
I get that.
Yeah, of course you do.
The doctoral program was my partner's idea.
Fuck you. So Judit stayed one of the best offensive players, but now she's
Naturally.
losing less,
Sure.
which means her rating goes up.
Okay.
The 11th game between Judit and Gary happens in 2001 back at Linares. Judit is again white and Gary is again black.
Okay.
She had learned from watching him and from playing him that he
10 times at that point.
that he hates when his king is under any kind of attack or even like kind of an attack. I'll send you this link too because this one's fascinating.
This game.
Yeah, because of how she like approaches it. Because she's like, at this point, she's like, I've never even drawn a game against you. I'm doing everything I can to fucking piss you off.
Right.
It's me, that game Hive. Remember that Casey showed you? Yeah. I
have good memories of Hive.
I like Hive. When I know I'm going to lose, I like to make that ending as difficult as possible. I will sit, if you don't know, Hive is like chess, but like way fucking simpler. Basically, you're trying to like surround your opponent's queen. I will sit with like nothing even close to surrounding his queen and just be a fucking asshole. But yeah. So Judit realized that he doesn't like when his king is attacked. And so she said, I'm always going to be attacking that king. She's learning the parts of the game that happen outside of the board, the psychological warfare that goes on between the two players.
I'm clicking through it right now.
Yeah. So she opens again, King's Pawn, Sicilian defense. Early on, both sides castle, and they castle on opposite sides of the board, which indicates to all the spectators that this is about to be an aggressive as fuck game, because you castle when you're trying to protect your king so that you can go on the offensive without having to worry about your king too much. And unlike their first few games, this game was so exciting that a huge crowd gathered. The first couple games, I think people got bored immediately because they all kind of knew Judit was going to lose.
Right.
But a lot of people ended up showing up. And eventually it got to this point where Gary was spending a lot of time thinking about his next move and then just making the most logical move. And so what Judit did is after a few times of this, she waited for like less than 3 seconds before making her next move.
Because she knew what he was going to do already?
No, she just wanted to make him uncomfortable. But what really pissed her off about playing Gary is that he never seemed to be even fazed by her game against him. And so this gave him like a serious psychological shock. She ends up sacrificing like a ton of her pieces to just continue attacking the king. And Gary remembers that he feels like he was just trying to survive, which is very unusual for these two playing. And at one point, Gary gets up, takes his coat off, shows all the signs of like being stressed that Judit has not seen before. And Judit ends up being like, ha, fuck you.
I've gotten in your head now.
Yes. And the game ends in perpetual check.
Right.
It's the rule where the threefold rule, where her king is kind of stuck in a corner and he has a queen that's kind of just like following it around. Yeah. And once the same board position shows up 3 times, the game ends in a draw. And so she draws. The first time ever after, I mean, their first game was in 94 and this is 2001, like 7 years. I would be losing my ever-loving mind. So Gary respects the game and acknowledges finally that like she's one of us. Yeah, she's one of the top players. And so this is a quote from someone else, I think, who studies, who knows Judith's story very well. I think the only way to beat someone like Gary Kasparov is if you manage to believe that you can take down your idol at his own game.
Aww.
If you don't believe that you are on the same level as him, you have no chance of winning the game. Gary Kasparov, even today, I mean, he's retired from professional chess, but he is still considered one of
the greats.
Like the current person who is the top is Magnus Carlsen. And then the other 2 names that are listed when you look up like the greats are Gary Kasparov and Bobby Fischer.
Okay.
Like, so in 2002, Gary's like, hey, friend, because we're friends, right? Do you want to come visit me in Croatia and like train for
together?
Like, for like a summer or something, like hang out?
That's so cute.
I know. So her and Gustav go there and like stay with them, and it seems like there's video footage and pictures and stuff of the group training, and like Judit remembers loving being able to learn some of his thought process because she was like, I would spend so much time thinking about some of these moves and he would just dismiss them because he thought they weren't important, and that's not something I ever realized I could do. And she was also surprised to learn that even when they were like in these training days, they weren't training all day. She was like,
which is the only thing
yes,
she was used
she's
to.
ever fucking known because of Laszlo. So they would train in the afternoons, but in the morning they would like go out on the town, go to the beach.
Go for a walk.
Specifically, Gary had a banana boat, literal fucking banana boat that would drag behind a boat, and it had seats like along the length of the banana for like five-ish people. And so he says in the fucking documentary, if I brought you to Croatia, you had to ride the banana boat. And so it's dragged behind the boat, and they would have competitions for who could ride it the longest. And Judit won because she never fell off. And Gary made everybody do that. And it helped Judit see a human side of Gary. So let's break the cycle, shall we?
Good. I was really hoping for a cathartic release.
Yeah. So at this point that we're going to talk about, we're now in 2002.
Okay.
They have played 14 games against each other.
She has lost
all of them.
Except for the one she drew.
Maybe she's drawn another one, I guess. I don't remember what game they were on, but she's never won. And Gary specifically has never lost. And so at this point, she has basically beat every other top player in the world.
Right.
Except for Gary.
Beautiful.
So 2002.
Her banana boat friend.
Her banana boat friend. Oh, it's so cute. It was giving like that scene in Devil Wears Prada 2 where Miranda Priestley invites, what's her face?
Andy Sachs.
To go to her house. So she is also white again. I don't know how she ended up white.
She keeps pulling that, yeah.
Yes, yeah. She does her opening, the opening she always does, which is King's Pawn opening. And instead of doing the Sicilian like she suspects, he actually plays the King's Pawn opening. Or like the open game, I think it's called. Which shocks the fucking shit out of I think everybody that was there because he is well known to play the Sicilian and he's very educated in the Sicilian. And what this does is opens up something called the Berlin defense because something really interesting happens very early on in this game. And then she is going to move knight here. He moves knight here. So this is protecting fighting over this middle square, which is incredibly aggressive. She is able to develop her bishop over here. He develops that knight. And this position with these knights is also considered super powerful. She castles, protecting her knight. Gary takes a pawn. This moves forward to then attack or bring more power to this middle for her, which forces this back here. She then is able to attack and take a knight with her bishop. Sorry, audio people, we're almost done, but then he is able to take that bishop, or he sacrifices that bishop. She takes a pawn. He has to move this because now she's attacking with the pawn. What's here?
Their two queens are facing off against each other.
Exactly. So very early in the game, we're on move 8. She takes his queen, and then he takes her queen. Which makes for a fucking insane game.
That's nuts.
Immediately, absolutely
She's
bananas.
lost some big pieces already, though. She's out a bishop.
Bishops and knights are technically viewed the same.
Okay.
In terms of...
I guess she's only out a bishop, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's out of a knight and a bishop.
And a bishop, yeah.
Wow. Oh, no, he's not. No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. So just a knight.
Okay.
And a pawn. So
what happens from here?
So very early on, like I mentioned, the queens are taken off the board. And what Gary is trying to do is to get into an end game similar to the end game that he had gotten her with the last.
He's now playing for a draw.
Because he knows that she's never been strong in her end game. And so he's trying to get there as quickly as possible. And she has told herself, she's like, I'm not fucking drawing with this motherfucker. I'm going to fucking win. And so she ends up winning by using like a pretty subtle endgame, while the Sicilian, which is what he usually plays, is more of like a crazy style, like it's a lot more open to attacking. The Berlin style is like a lot of the time when you're like, if you like go through the game, it feels like there's still a very solid line of like black and red through this. At least that's what I noticed when I was like looking through the game. And so she ends up beating him for the first time ever. which is an incredibly important moment for a female chess player. She gets called the Queen of Chess. In 2003, after beating Gary, she finally broke into the top 10 of all world players. I think she ends up getting up to number 8. And I don't think this is the game that she ends up winning against Gary, but this is during the same year.
Sorry, that's just it's crazy, like Eastern European early 2000s hair. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's like the crazy little like coif
thing
or whatever.
There's a lot of movement in it.
A lot, yeah.
Good for them.
And Gary seems like a cute guy.
Yeah.
But so now we're into our last little section of Where Are They Now?
Oh, fun. Okay.
Yeah. Judit.
Hopefully making more little chess babies. Not together.
She's had, I think at this, and soon she will have 2 kids with her vet husband. But in 2014, Judit retired officially from the world of professional chess. For 26 years, she held the title of top female chess player since the age of 12. I'm not going to try and list all the titles she's won. If you want, you can look at her.
She retires before she's 40. Lucky girl.
Yeah. I mean, she still does a lot, but she's just not competing.
Right.
So there's a documentary on Netflix called Queen of Chess or Chess Queen or whatever that was released this year. Actually, today's story was gonna be a completely different chess documentary that was also released this year that I might be keeping in my back pocket. But
big year for chess documentaries.
I guess. I don't know. But I did want to show you these headlines because I was gonna make it the opening and then I was like, it would lead to a very strange vibe of the episode.
Okay.
There are 2 screenshots here that you can read the headlines of.
Oh, hold on. It's the
the anal beads.
Yep. Yep. I haven't been saying it because I thought it was a butt plug. That was the big but I forget. Anal beads was the
vibrating too.
Right. Was the big scandal.
Mm-hmm. Some incredible headlines.
I know because I work at a high school. I know more about that story than you probably think I do.
Excellent, because it might still be happening at some point. Basically, it's Magnus Carlsen is the best person at chess.
Right.
This one fucking incel vibe dude, Hans Niemann, gets really popular during COVID kind of streaming on Twitch while playing games. He ends up starting to go to real tournaments. He loses really badly to Magnus. He comes back the second time and then is able to beat Magnus. Magnus gets weird vibes from the whole thing. At the next tournament, he sits down to play against Magnus. Hans sits down to play against Magnus. Magnus sits there for 1 turn and is like, this guy's giving off weird as fuck vibes. I'm out of here.
Right.
Magnus's coach is goes to chess.com, the people that run chess.com, and are like, has he ever cheated? And they go through, and you can mathematically tell when someone's cheating if they constantly are making the best move. That's not something that's going to happen. Humans at this point can get to I think Magnus's rating is 2,800 in the 2800s. That's about the highest we can get. Computers can get to 3,400.
Okay.
Because that's just how it works.
Sure.
We're prone to making mistakes. And they're able to show he's cheated a fuck ton.
Oh, hell yeah.
So they don't prove that he cheated at the tournament.
But that he shouldn't be at the tournament.
But they did prove that, his account ends up getting suspended. But then it's this whole conversation of he must have cheated at the tournament. And that's how you get this scandal of people saying, well, the only thing it could have been was vibrating anal beads.
I don't understand how that would have helped.
I don't either. I think it was a joke that Elon Musk retweeted.
Oh, God.
It became a headline. I swear to God,
stupidest time.
Wolf Blitzer had to read.
That dog is not running for governor. That's the timeline that we're living in. Wait, hold
my
on.
God.
Can I check? Because I'm only checking about the actual candidates. I want to see how close he is to winning the. It's under 2 points. It's at 1.6 with 80% left.
I'm so
He's
scared.
been gaining. And MSNBC thinks that race for the Republican nomination is still too early
close
to call. Between elected state representative, bad, but generally regular person, Barbara Kirkmeyer, and Victor Marx.
I can't believe that. Who is legitimately watching that stuff and being like, that's a man I want in office?
Okay, hold on. Is there any hope for her?
Oh, no.
So she represents up north and ran in the district up north for Congress 4 years ago, whatever. And so her home base is Weld County.
Oh.
And I think if I'm looking at the numbers, I think I might rather be her than him based off of what has way more in. Yeah. I think I would rather be her than him, but
watching Grant do
close.
this is weird as a STEM person who like should be good at numbers. It's crazy to be like, that's 4.6%.
I'm not good when it comes to any of this stuff except like election things and then speech math. Speech math makes
is actually crazy.
So much sense to me.
Like, and then you take the reciprocal of that, and that it's like, bro. Other thing about Judit Polgár, she is probably one of the primary like inspirations for Beth in The Queen's Gambit.
Love the show. Couldn't tell you a single name.
It's Beth Harmon. That show's technically not. It's based on a book that is not based on a real person, but the book is written by Walter Tevis, who says he drew inspiration, or there's sources saying he drew inspiration from people like prodigies like Judit and Bobby Fischer. Her and
sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Is she raising her kids to be chess masters themselves?
I didn't get that impression, but
not shocked by that.
It wasn't asked in the documentary, which
most children who have really intense upbringings do not then recreate that upbringing.
Yeah.
They actually
generational trauma.
Children with really intense upbringings oftentimes end up bringing children like in the Montessori style of things.
Yes,
where they're like whatever you want
to do. That's another reason I should not be a parent. Her and her husband do have 2 children together. I think one is
That's
Olivier.
Adorable.
I don't remember the name of the other one.
Olivier Dean.
Yeah. Nice. She has the Judit Polgár Chess Foundation that has 2 educational programs. One, I believe, focused on like grade school and one focused on preschool of like helping young children develop the kinds of skills that chess helps with, like problem solving and analytical thinking. So, I mean, like, yes, but no, you know?
Classic.
Yeah. Sophia, her sister, ended up moving to Israel, and I'm not sure if she moved before she married this guy or after she married this guy, but she did marry an Israeli grandmaster.
Wow. Okay.
And I didn't see a ton of information about them after that. Laszlo and Clara ended up moving to Israel to like be with Sophia for a little bit, and then maybe to the U.S., which is where Susan will end up.
Are they Hungarian Jews?
Yes.
Who survived the Holocaust?
Her grandparents died in Auschwitz.
Okay, but how did...
That information was literally nowhere.
Okay.
So I don't know. There's a couple sources
when
that said...
When was Laszlo born?
49.
49. So then one of his parents had to survive.
Or maybe it might have been his
Laszlo's grandparents died in Auschwitz?
Maybe.
Sorry, it's not important to the story.
No,
but
I was actually going to write that down and forgot. So, Laszlo and Clara, they ended up moving to the U.S. I'm not sure where they ended up, but they did spend time kind of all over. There were numerous books written that include discussion of his quote-unquote experiment. He himself has written lots of books about his experiment. Actually, the whole family has a lot of published books. Like, I think at least Susan and Judit have published books as well. I'm not sure about Sophia. His theories actually about creating geniuses were going to be featured heavily, I think, in the movie Whiplash in the earlier cuts, and then it got taken out.
About the drummer?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know, isn't that crazy? In 2002, Susan changed her chess federation from Hungary to U.S., and she moved to the United States. In 2003, she was the first woman to be awarded the title of Grandmaster of the Year by the U.S. Federation. Susan would start coaching the Texas Tech Knight Raiders chess team in 2007.
Red Raiders, just say name. Oh, Knights, because it's the Knight Raiders. Oh, that's cute.
In 2010, she became the first woman to lead a chess team to the Final Four. And then in 2011, she became the first female woman to lead a chess team to the national title when they won the President's Cup. They then won it again in 2012. And then she and some of her team moved to Webster, where they won again in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2017.
She unlocked something. She figured it out.
Yeah. And this is a final picture of the sisters from left to right. It is Judith, Susan, and then Sophia. But this was in 2017.
I love that they still talk to each other, and it doesn't sound like they hate their parents, which is
no, it seems
I'm
like
happy
they're
for
fine.
them. Yeah. They just look so happy. And what a funny photo.
I
the
know.
way that needs to be framed on someone's like, we have kind of a fire mantelpiece at my parents' home, but my mom instead puts a lot of those kind of family photos on the old family piano.
Yeah. They're like staged or like posed on a staircase with a bunch of like the giant chess pieces that you find at like lawn games or whatever.
Mexican resorts is oftentimes
that's
when I've played
also true.
those.
I don't spend a ton of time there. But that is today's
And that's
story.
your fault.
Yeah, I know.
I love it. I also do feel like I know a lot more about chess
Same.
going into the next school year.
Yes.
I love that this has become your new hyper focus recently.
The way I was, so I had this hanging in the living room for the last couple of days and would literally watch chess videos of people. Like I was specifically looking at the Sicilian defense and the Berlin Wall or the Berlin defense because I was like, I don't understand any of this. And it's crazy to learn about. Like, though, these people that do these YouTube videos are like, and then this person could do this, but let's play it out and see what happens. And it's actually like, it's crazy how much a game changes.
I love
from
the
one
idea
move.
of you watching game film too. Like that's funny.
And it
to
also
me.
does put me to sleep a lot better than what I was doing, which is doing what Lydia does and like watch a show and play a game at the same time until hopefully my brain stops working. Yeah. So it's nice. I'll send you some videos.
Yeah, please do.
I have a guy, the guy that I've been listening to has like a vaguely Eastern European accent, and it's quite soothing. I like it. And also the links that I was sending you were like, it's fun to watch a game
to watch it
progress.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'm all that good at chess, but I am happy to play against you.
That I'm not good at
Oh,
chess.
okay, cool. It's giving also a little bit like homemade ADHD tests. Like, wow, incredible.
But this was $40.
I saw like on Instagram a little meme recently, and it was like, I was so late to my appointment to get tested for ADHD, and everyone there was so nice, and I thought it was really cool. And then I got home, and I thought about it more.
There's like a lot of memes of people of like the like cartoons walking into like the psychiatrist office, and they're like, "So you're here for an ADHD prescription?" And she was like, "Did you bring your ID?" No, I forgot that at home. Great. And
like,
you're
excellent.
15 minutes late. And then they like keep listing off all these things that she doesn't know. And she was like, when's the test gonna start?
Last little thing, and then we can wrap it up because there's some stuff I want to tell you about Pride Weekend too. But I'm reading for one of my grad classes, my U.S. history class right now. It's this kind of an ethnographic book on the development of drag culture.
The fuck does ethnographic mean?
The researcher tries to embed themselves in the community they're studying as much as possible.
Oh.
To like understand how that community's nuance is understanding it from like within the group. And so that's an ethnography. So it's an ethnographic like study of drag and ballroom culture from like 2001 to like 2010. And it's interesting too because it's like in the prologue, it's like, you know, the internet is changing this community in kind of quicker ways and it's helping, you know, whatever. And it's like, okay, well, we're 16 years removed from when this was written and published, so it's changed quite a bit.
Yeah, true.
But the funniest thing of all is he was like, one of the first things you need to understand about drag and ball culture is that nothing ever starts on time. Everything is significant.
So late. Like you go to a concert normally and you're like, I expect it to start by like at the latest 10 minutes after.
Right.
Drag, it could be an hour. And I'd be like, they wanted us to come here and experience being with each other for an hour.
Partner and I went to one of them, and it's great. Like the book is not critical. The book is a celebration, and it does so in a really interesting way of like even talking about lateness, which I think like
I do want
and like in a
to,
Western American culture we would find rude. Like it does not come across as rude in the way that he writes about it. You know what I'm trying to say?
I love that the latest person in our friend group is going, I love that he's just so not critical of us being late.
Is Danny here right now?
Danny's been on time to all of our kickball games.
Okay, great. He doesn't have to bring as much shit as my partner and I do.
Yeah, and that's the reason you should be on time, is that we do need the things you're bringing.
I have been twice and we were on time the second time now that I understood
it was actually
a more active role that I needed to play in making sure we were there on time, and that's fine.
It was so funny watching you and your partner walk up to the game the first time because you were already like 10 minutes late, and your partner's just like
literally
walking like nothing's the problem.
Say it, prancing a little, trotting.
He's prancing a little. I wanted to be known. The first game, he came with like a cart on wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's in the garage.
He had a lot of stuff and he came prepared.
Yeah.
This time, he did not bring a cart. He did bring a Grant, though. So Grant is like fumbling behind him, dropping
I'm
things.
literally dropping something and putting it on like Gus Gus from Cinderella.
Santo's friend and I were sitting there watching it like, nice.
It means so much to me that he likes my presence and that I can make things easier and less stressful for him. And it's truly not an issue for me at all. Like, I am happy to carry it. But it is clear.
It's really funny. I wish I had a video of it.
I will be holding things and he goes, babe, can you hold this real quick? And like a finger or two will emerge from, I'm like, yeah, I don't need to grip this as hard as I'm gripping it. And it's like, here you go, babe.
Meanwhile, I asked Casey to carry my phone for like approximately 3 seconds at the Pride 5K while I put my hair up. And he was like, I don't like holding things. It's like, I'll kill you.
I don't know if my partner knows how heavy his duffel is. It's not, but I don't think he could tell you within 5 pounds the exact weight of what he travels. Well, considering I had to carry it through every airport and subway station.
He doesn't have a roller suitcase?
Which actually ended up being really good because 2 roller suitcases would have been hard for me to then also check the map. So 1 roller suitcase, duffel bag, phone in hand.
Make him do his own suitcase if he has a roller suitcase.
Meanwhile, I'm like, are you hungry? You seem kind of hungry and like maybe like a little food in your stomach could be good. And we have so much time. And he's like, no. And then we stop at every single, this is in San Francisco, every single soup dumping place. And I go, we have time if you want to stop. He goes, no, it's fine. And then we were like 2 blocks away from the train station. He goes, okay, if we see 1 more, it's a sign. And I wanted to be like, no, all the places we stopped at were the sign that we should get them. And of course, then there isn't, but it's fine. We got him in the airport and then we went to the lounge. So it was great. But it's just so funny about the drag and ball culture not like starting on time.
I know you're saying drag and ball culture, but it really does sound like Dragon Ball. Hadouken! Or whatever it is they say that might be
the
racist.
ball culture, and that's the reason why I'm calling it like the drag culture, but also then it's like kind of like a voguing ball culture because not everyone in there identifies or even expresses that identity as drag or as a drag queen. And the book does a really interesting job laying that out too. But it was just so funny because the one that my partner and I have been to so far, he's been to lots, but the first one he brought me to, I think it was like doors at 7. We got there at like 7:15, 7:20 because he was like, it's not going to start right away, but like, I don't want there to be like all the good spots taken and like, I don't want us to be late and you don't want to walk in if it's already started. At 8:30, he goes, oh, that's blankety blank, mother of blankety blank, who's just arriving. And this is a person not dressed up for a ball, headed towards the back changing rooms. And I was like, what would you like, another drink? He goes, sure. And in the back of my mind, I was like, what's 5 drinks before the show even starts?
That's how they get you. That's the gay agenda.
Here's the thing. I'm just so used to constantly paying my gay tax in that way. But yeah, I think it is. So anyways, let's go to Patreon
hysterical.
so we can do Pride
I don't even
stories.
know what of the Pride stories I can say. I'm not going to lie.
I don't think we usually have much of a filter at this point. But thank you for joining us. Find us on social media. If you would like additional content, you can join us on Patreon, which we're about to film. You're welcome to request a cameo. It's not 4th of July for us, so we'll let you know that you make us want a hot dog real bad. I can't do a Jennifer Coolidge impersonation, so I just kind of do
hot dog real bad.
That's really good.
I'm trying to work on my impression.
No, that's really good. And I'm kind of like, I've never heard that. That was crazy. I've never heard that
Feels
from
like
you.
An easy one.
And if you have an impression or a story about thieving or a terrible breakup or Checkmate or Better Together, which are the next 2 themes, I finally figured it out.
Which I also haven't announced to anyone yet.
Please send it in to whileilaughdpod@gmail.com, or you can send it via the form on our website. No need to do both. Maya and I sometimes
Please
then
don't.
accidentally
We get
claim them at the same time.
That's too much information for us.
All right, friends. Well, thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Love you.